Monster.
What?
It was
so quiet. Monster.
I was gonna do a Scooby Doo impression, and then I realized I can't do impressions for shit.
All you have to do is say ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh.
Right.
Oh no!
That was pretty good.
Thank you. Well, totally, Scoob.
Zoinks.
I don't really understand, Scoob. And then Fred is just a masculine kind of dopey
plan.
voice. Gang. I have a plan.
Let's split up, gang.
Okay, anyway, we're done with that.
And Mom was all like, jinkies.
Yeah.
My glasses.
I can't see without my glasses.
The guy she talked to for 5 seconds in the movie, and just like,
and then fell in love with.
It's like, come on, we know she's a lesbian. Just quit this. We all know it. She literally called
Velma
Daphne
is lesbian.
She called Daphne beautiful multiple times.
I know.
In the
She
film.
really
we were to watch
did.
Scooby Doo, and we were like, why did Daphne and Velma not end up together at the end of this? Daphne and Fred have zero chemistry throughout the movie.
That's not true. They do have chemistry. They have like an arguing back and forth kind of chemistry.
I mean,
That's not chemistry. That's just bickering.
Oh, it absolutely. We were talked about this in films before. It's either people love each other so much that they end up hating each other. They hate each other so much that they love each other. It's that same dynamic.
I don't think that it's that intense. I feel like
no parts of the movie are that intense. But my point is,
I feel like Fred is like Daphne sexy, and Daphne's like Fred annoying.
But exactly. But on the surface level, they're the ones who have more of a connection. What is Velma and Daphne's connection? There's nothing.
It's the lesbian connection.
I think you might be a little biased here. I think you might be the slightest bit biased. There is no connection really, but that's okay. There's like a real borderline top of the surface level connection between Daphne and Fred.
So if you haven't guessed it, we're talking about Scooby Doo and Donnie Darko.
Scooby Doo from 2002.
Yeah. First, we're talking about
It's a great
Scooby Doo.
movie.
It was a cultural moment.
It was really a moment in history.
I mean, you got freaking Sugar Ray there singing to Sarah Michelle Gellar
For absolutely no reason.
as a dog monster demon.
dog monster.
I guess
Mr. Bean is there.
he sure is. He
reminds me of Michael Sheen in Good Omens.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Yes, if you've seen Good Omens,
No, I haven't, but I've kind of read it.
One, you should at me, and two,
Kind of read it.
I've read most of it. But
I really like it, and they did a mini series, and Michael Sheen plays Aziraphale, and for some reason he has the same energies as
The exact
Scrappy Doo
same.
as the owner of Spooky Island, because we have to remember that it's
Spoilers!
Scrappy Doo the whole
Spoilers!
time.
Spoilers.
Sorry,
I'm sorry. This movie came out in 2002.
Franny just saw it
it's
the
also
other day.
Scooby
What?
fucking Doo. So
yeah,
I
it's my
remember-
first time seeing.
This is like a childhood favorite.
should we say our names?
Oh yeah,
I'm Brie.
I'm Madison. I have a pretzel M&M in
I
my mouth.
have.
Shut up.
I'm Franny.
And I'm Scooby Doo. No, I'm
Oh
kidding.
no!
I'm
Get out of here.
I'm Rogan.
If Scooby Doo could
I
be
hate that.
your Joe Rogan.
Rojogan.
I don't
Rogan?
like that.
Have you ever seen the video Joe Rogan interviews Rojogan?
No, I've
Oh
never
my
seen this.
God.
I try
It's the best
I
video ever.
refuse to engage with Joe Rogan's content.
Why?
I just find him irritating unless he's hosting Fear Factor.
That's fine. You don't have to like his content, but that video is just incredible.
Unless he says, I only like Joe Rogan when he's saying that fear is obviously not a factor with you.
Fear is obviously not a factor to you. And
I
then
love Fear
then
Factor.
they got canceled because they were making people eat donkey cum, like drink it. That's why they got canceled.
What?
That's what
That's
fucking
it.
Fear Factor is, dude.
Yeah, but like donkey cum, that's pretty intense, dude.
They ate a lot of intense things on Fear Factor.
Donkey cum? Are we gonna get demonetized?
They ate.
I mean,
A
what
donkey.
monetization though?
We could get there one day. We're doing a lot better than I thought we would.
Yeah, we really are.
We're killing
Thank
it. Thank you.
guys.
They made people
Everybody
eat
watching.
like bull testicles at one time.
Donkey cum is a lot worse than bull testicles.
Like, is it though?
It is.
Bull testicles.
Tell you what. If there was a bowl of donkey cum or a bowl of bull testicles, I think I'm going with the testicles.
Cooked or nah? I
Well,
don't.
cooked
no.
or not? Like, do I get to choose? I'm gonna go with cooked.
No, I mean, are the donkey? No, I'm sorry.
The
I don't think
donkey.
you- I don't think you
The
cook
donkey.
Shout out to
cum.
Donkey. We love your content. Love you, Donkey. Anyway, you said what
Um,
about donkeys? Cum?
Are the balls cooked or no?
Yeah, they are cooked.
Yeah, that's a
Oh.
health risk.
They're at minimum boiled for safety. They may
Right.
not be tasty, but you can't eat raw testicles.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But
I'm
you
just
can
saying-
drink raw cum.
I'm just
I mean, you
saying.
can, yeah.
I mean, how much different is donkey cum than like human cum?
I wouldn't eat human cum either.
In terms
I was so angry I spit.
Listen, women across America,
swallowed.
women across America swallow cum every single day.
Yeah.
If they do it, so can you.
But my point,
Actually, women and men across America. I don't
my
want to.
point
I don't want
being
to
is,
be
you
disrespectful.
don't go to other countries and see, oh, we also have a nice bottle of cum on the menu. But they do serve testicles in other countries. You know why? Because it's meat and it can be a delicacy. They can cook it and make it a thing.
I mean, I bet it's tender.
Probably
bully
is. I mean,
sticks, like dog bully sticks treats.
yeah.
No, we don't feed our dogs that bullshit.
Well, you do. We can do bully sticks. We just
We
can't do rawhides are the bad.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Logan's picky.
it's the rawhide, but like bully sticks are actually decent for them, right?
Yeah, I mean they're
Oh.
just dicks.
They're
can
literally
do
just
that.
dicks.
Dicks.
It's made out of dick.
Dwight
I've
Right.
held
It's
so
made
many.
out of real meat.
if you give that
dicks.
to your dog's gay.
Our dog is gay.
Which one?
Dwight, obviously.
Okay, that's probably
She
true.
said obviously.
I was as if I'm gonna get all mad if Mila's gay. Like what?
He's unfixed.
My little girl?
He's unfixed. Only humps himself, and only likes to sniff.
He had
male dicks.
He had consensual sex with a poodle. Thank you.
Ah!
He did. I saw it happen. And that poodle was the bad one. She was over there. She was like giving him the eye. She was like lifting the leg. Like, what up?
Mm.
She's like, I like guys from Boston. What's up?
Little Dwight is a Boston Terrier. For
Anyway,
those of you.
He's both. He's a pug
I'm
and
sorry.
a Boston Terrier. He's a fucking bug.
So Scooby Doo 2002.
Your bowl.
Okay, I do my hand exercises.
I just want to say that I love Fear Factor. Joe Rogan, that's the only valid thing you've ever done was host Fear Factor.
I love his stand-up, but that's, I guess, not something you would enjoy anyway. So you say you don't like his content, so I imagine you
Nah,
probably
I
won't like
really
his
like him.
stand-up. I think he's a funny man.
Okay, so
Weird
Scooby Doo.
2002.
This movie is like a time capsule for the 2000s.
Absolutely. I
It
mean,
really is.
It literally. So, I think what's great about this movie is that they wanted to capitalize on the American Pie kind of style film, where it's like big teenage parties, but they wanted to do it for a younger audience because these films were killing it then. Every movie that came out like this, Almost Famous, American Pie, whatever they could do about a coming of age kind of teenage story, they did. And this movie is like the party movie for kids because it is loaded to the brim with marijuana, party
Right.
references.
Oh yeah.
But
back and
it's
forth.
just like subtle enough. Like me and Bridget were just talking about all the
It's
things
really not that subtle.
that happen. I mean, but like that you miss when you're a kid.
Oh,
though.
yeah, for sure.
but like I never saw it as a kid. I just saw it now.
Like I was saying, like I think I was trying to keep count of how many things that I had missed as a child, and there were many. There was like at least 10 different
There's
things.
There's this great scene where it's like right after so in the beginning of the movie, the gang all splits up, right? Like they decide that they're not going to work together and do mysteries anymore.
Well, before we get to that,
In a little
I
heartbreaking
have something
moment.
important to mention before we get to that.
Oh, go ahead.
So the ghost at the beginning of the film, the fake guy,
Yeah.
Oh, I remember
I-
this story.
I've had night terrors about that particular ghost my entire life, and I will like to
this
say,
day?
I stopped for a while, but fun little fact here. I actually did have a slight nightmare about that same ghost the night we watched it.
yeah, I was worried about that
So
for you.
I'll say this to the fans or fan. I don't know how many of you are listening. I've sacrificed a lot for you all. And also, what the fuck were they thinking putting that scary ass fucking monster at the very beginning of the movie?
What the
ghost.
The Luna ghost?
Yes.
Is it really that scary?
It's for if you go back to the costuming designs, if you listen to like the interview they had with that, they took that one specifically out of voodoo lore, that specific physical character. It's called a shako, and it's meant to look like a clown in a way. It's like a voodoo clown. Horrifying.
Ah.
I mean, I just thought it was kind of silly.
Well, you know, different strokes for different folks. It scared the shit out of me as a kid, or it just happened to scare me at the same time. You know, but still, it's an interesting choice considering what the rest of the movie looks like.
The whole
But
opening scene is actually a really fun little scene, though.
it's pretty much like
It really
It's
is.
very similar to Scooby Doo. Where Are You? Just like a
Yeah.
live action, like 3-4 minute scene.
of just them running around and fucking up. It's a lot of fun.
The skateboard is a bit much.
It's kind of fun. I like it.
She looked at me and said, "Where did
Product-
this skateboard come from?" And I was
Product
like,
of its time.
Right, but it's kind of fun when they're like in the barrel and like Scooby's
Yeah.
struggling to run, so you're getting that like leg thing
Yeah.
that they used to do in the cartoons.
Scooby's over here like, I'm Tony Hawk. Ooh. Like, the whole
Right,
time.
you know.
It's pretty great.
But yeah, so like right after that scene where the gang all splits up, we cut to Scooby and Shaggy.
Oh my God, the
And there's the mystery machine is just there, and there's just like smoke coming out of the top.
Mm-hmm.
and they were like,
and you hear
primo.
Shaggy, and they'd be like, "Totally toasted, dude."
Yeah.
And then
These burgers are totally toasted, dude. Yeah.
it's so good.
They use the word primo.
Mm-hmm. And then what was he said a really good moment. We don't deal with anything to do with ghosts, ghouls, or scary. And then he said another thing. What was it?
Fuck, it's probably in my
That one was
hydroclonic.
yeah, hydroclone. That's for a whole different reason, man. I love that line.
Shit's so funny.
We had to look it up. We were like, "What the fuck is that?" And if all of you that don't know, like I was, it's an enema.
Mm-hmm.
Goes up
That's
your
a
butt.
totally different reason, dude.
Like I want to know the story behind that. I want to know. How.
Oh my god, I lost my.
It's probably Matthew Lillard. He's just like a goofy little dude, you know.
He's like
I
a
feel
perfect
like
Shaggy.
He
dude.
is.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of people really disappointed because he kind of took over the role of Shaggy and animated as well.
Right? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then for this new movie, Scoob, they decided
Scoob.
to replace him with a less weed-sounding character.
Yeah,
and
that's lame as fuck.
Why?
it's fucking lame because he owns the role, and
Right.
he's probably given up a lot of work to
be
stick with
Shaggy.
that role. It just seems like it's a genuine walk away. It's like when I like the Child's Play remake. I thought it was fine, and Mark Hamill's a great voiceover actor. But when they took it away from, I can't remember his name. The guy who's been doing Chucky for fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty fucking lame, and that's what I think of this new Scoob movie as well. But anyway, I got on a tangent. Sorry.
I mean, but we won't be seeing Scoob for a while because isn't it post?
Oh yeah, it's probably gonna get. Fuck the coronavirus.
Dang, man.
I'm not gonna get to see Scoob on time.
Scoob, the movie that I've been looking forward
What
to.
about Scoob? And all you Fast and Furious fans, all one of you, are upset because now it's gonna be all the way in next year in April. That is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, so by the way, just like a quick side note, that's probably not going to affect our podcast specifically, but obviously we've been mainly doing new releases. We're kind of stoked. I think it's going to give us the opportunity to do movies that we really want and not so much worry
Yeah, we have
about.
some fun stuff that we're thinking about doing.
Mm-hmm. And
I
we'll
don't want to say just what it is yet because we haven't decided fully what next week's gonna look like.
Mm-hmm. But know that we are fine and everything's gonna be great in that regard.
And
It's
we
still gonna
hope
be
you
great
all
content.
are fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Stay
good.
safe, guys. Wash your hands.
Exactly.
Wash
Anyway,
your damn hands, please,
so-
for the love of God.
so back
Don't
to
touch your
Stay
damn
the fuck
face.
at home.
back to Scooby Doo 2002.
I this was my pick, right? I think it was.
Yes,
we
absolutely,
made
it
our
was.
picks a long time ago.
Mhm.
I love this movie. I think it's great. I love Scooby Doo so much. I cannot explain to you how much I love Scooby Doo. Like that is content at its purest. Is fucking Scooby Doo. Like sometimes you feel sad and you just got to put on an episode of Scooby Doo Where Are You to forget your woes. And that's literally what I told Bridget. I was like, we were actually planning to watch the movie today as opposed to last night when we did watch it. But like I had a really long day at work and work was really shitty. And so I was like, I'm coming home. We're watching fucking Scooby Doo.
Oh.
I was like, all right.
And it was a great time.
And it
Me
was a
Franny
great
watched
time.
It too.
It was a great time. It was a wonderful time.
Yeah, it was so good.
I would
My
love to do
lady.
the sequel that you actually prefer.
I know. I this might be controversial in the Scooby Doo fandom, but I love Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. I think it's great.
I just took a drink of something I thought was gonna be water and was not.
Oh no, Franny's
that was water.
My
Oh no.
her Sevia.
It's not that it
Product
tastes.
placement?
It's not that it tastes bad. It's that when you're going for water and you get something else, you're like, that must be poo. Like your brain's like, what is that?
And you drank the last sip of it.
I was
yeah,
I will
I'll
say
take
like
it.
I was
I'm not a
worried.
big fan. Sorry,
Nobody likes
Zevia.
my Zevia.
If you want
If you want
Franny,
to sponsor us, we'll all
Yeah.
be Zevia fans in a hot minute. So
Correct.
Tastes good with some vodka.
vanilla vodka, do be
I was
clear.
so because this wasn't my pick, I was like worried that I wasn't gonna like it as much as I liked it when I was a kid because I remember receiving this movie like for my birthday and watching it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happened to it now, but
Lost the time, as you said.
yeah, I think that is what I said. It's lost to time, but what a good movie.
I watched this movie. I remember it was like super late at night, except I was a kid, so it was probably like 9 o'clock at night. And I used to have really bad asthma. I still have asthma, but it's not as bad. And I used to have to do those like face masks, like face.
A
Wait,
breathing treatment.
A breathing treatment.
Nebulizer.
yeah, I had this little mask that looked like a dinosaur. It had a name. I don't remember what it was. It was really cool though.
That sounds awesome. I'm sorry.
They're really
jealous.
not awesome. They make your hands all shaky and
Yeah.
taste kind of gross.
It does taste really gross, and I would get really hyper after. And one time I was at my grandma's. It's a little side story, and she had to give me my breathing treatment because I was asthma-y or whatever. And then I got like real crazy, and she was like, "Daniel, come and pick up your kid." She was pissed.
Oh.
And now she's disowned me, and I'm out of her will.
Wow. Okay.
Paved right over.
All right.
Wait, no, I'm not done telling my story about.
But anyway,
watching
you had
Scooby-Doo.
asthma. You were watching Scooby Doo.
It's just like it was a very visceral moment for me as a kid. I was just trying to be funny there. I mean, like those are all real things that are happening, but.
And I'm glad to know that like what my favorite part of the movie always was, which says a lot about me, was like my favorite part of the movie was always when they're having like the big showdown and then Daphne gets her moment to use what skills she's learned. And she fucks him up. She
so
kicks his ass so good.
I did love that. That was
And
fun.
I always loved that when I was a kid, and I loved it when I watched it the last time. So
I remember seeing this movie in the LaPorte Theater. So small. 4 screens is all that had. And I saw it with my friends, and it was for a birthday party for this kid named John. John, if you're out there, shout out to you, buddy. You're a good dude. And I remember all of us after the movie, we're probably like 7 years old or something like that.
came out in what, 2002?
Yeah, it's like 7, 8 years old. And I remember for like the following week, we'd play Scooby Doo.
I love that shit.
And I just
Who were you?
So I went back and forth between being Scooby because I could do the impression.
Right.
But I also at one point when his sister got involved, I was Sugar Ray. I'm not kidding either.
Sugar Ray plays such a minimal part in that movie.
But he doesn't because at the time we knew who the band is in the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking
True.
Sugar Ray. It was like
right.
It was like
You're like, what? Sugar Ray's in this movie?
to us it was like, Elton, are you here? Like that's how serious it was. Like, fly. Like that was a big moment. So yeah. But yeah, I was always the person who was good at the impression, so I was always Scooby Doo.
I love that shit.
Yeah, it was a good time. I that memory came flooding back to me watching the movie, and it came out of nowhere. It came fast. It was like, psh, punch
And
me
it's
in
just
the
like,
face.
what another example of how much this movie is in the 2000s.
Absolutely.
Like
It was the kids' way of seeing American Pie.
Right. And like, were it not made in 2002, I would compare it to The Turning, where it's like, you're beating me over the head with how 2000s this is. But no, they made it in the 2000s, so it's fine.
That's so true. Oh, man.
Mary Jane.
Mary
Can we talk
Jane,
about-
dude.
That's
I
my
loved her.
favorite name.
All right. Okay. Now we got to talk about the Mary Jane character. All right. If this wasn't a children's movie, I would really be upset with the way the Mary Jane character is treated and
She's
everything.
cute as a fucking button, though, isn't she?
Yeah, but I think the thing where it was just like, this girl's in the way of their friendship. I was just like, ugh, the bros before hoes message they're just displaying right now.
And like the fact that she's allergic to dogs.
Yeah. It was not great. That part was not great. But it was great for the time. It fit the time.
Yeah.
It was just, ugh. And then she's allergic to dogs, but she eats dog treats. Like, that's a whole thing.
Right.
Also, I don't know how they managed to make a movie post 9/11 where a dog got dressed like a grandmother and got onto a plane where a person was openly carrying a cat. I'm just saying that was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen.
Also, there's a scene on the plane, I said this while we were watching, where Mary Jane comes on. She sees Shaggy and Scooby in the seat, and she says, is that seat there, like next to Scooby, taken? And I'm like, it's a fucking plane. The seats are assigned, you simple bitch.
Good point. Good point.
I was like, hold on a minute.
Also, I want to repair something. In the last podcast, we said it was called Spooky Island. That's not true. It's Mystery Island.
No, it's not. It's Spooky Island.
Oh no, wait, yeah, the opposite. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, we called it Mystery
We
Island.
called it Mystery Island, but it's actually it's much
It's
simpler.
Spooky
It's
Island.
Spooky Island.
I love that shit.
We were way more nuanced than this movie was.
Right. And just the island setup. It seems, I remember as a kid.
I like how when you're exiting, so usually when you see a sign coming to a resort, it says on the outside Spooky Island or something, right?
Right.
But it only says that when you're leaving the park, the sign over it says Spooky Island.
Yeah.
When you're leaving.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's like now Spooky Island is toward off this pier and into the ocean.
Also, just this whole island setup. I remember as a kid thinking the Spooky Island looked so fucking lit.
Yeah, same. I remember thinking, wow, the hotel's so cool, and they slept on the beach. That's so awesome. Like, but it wasn't that cool.
It wasn't that awesome.
Also, they'd be
No.
so fucking sunburnt if they
Oh,
slept
I
on
know,
the beach. But they're
God.
just like fine. They're like, it's cool. We're good. Not believable at all.
No.
I mean, yeah, it is a kids movie, and kids don't think about that shit.
No, but see, that's unfair though, because it's actually better than a lot of kids' movies, and I
No,
want
it
to
is
give it
actually
some
quite
credit.
good.
You're right.
So, and a lot of people just say fuck it with kids' movies, unless they're like
Right.
Disney or something, and then sometimes they still say fuck it. But this movie was like trying to be entertaining, and I think it
And it was.
overall succeeded. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
I
mis-
think this movie got pretty bad reviews. Actually, I was looking at it, but I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's a little unfair.
they were like, because also the Scooby Doo fan base has always been strong. You know what I mean? People are very in the Scooby Doo fandom.
Yeah.
So I guess a lot of people didn't like their license being messed with like that, because it's not like it's like Scooby Doo, Where Are You? It's very different.
Right.
I
Yeah.
liked it,
I mean,
though.
and there is like a supernatural element, which is kind of
Yeah, which
It's
really
different, yeah.
that only happened when the first time they ever did that was Scooby Doo Zombie Island. The first time it was ever anything mythical, because even the
Yeah.
werewolf one from the past and Dracula, those were all dream sequences.
right.
So
Really?
yeah. So
I
the only
forgot
time
about that.
the only
I
time
really loved those though.
me too. I love this. I love the werewolf one, but that was the first time they ever did something mythical and mystical and all that stuff. So there's a lot of people who didn't really catch on with that and didn't like it. So when this movie did it over the toply to where not only was there something mythical about it, but it was like almost entirely that way. I see why some people wouldn't like that, but as far as like a kids movie goes, it was highly entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as an adult, like it made me laugh at the parts where it was trying to make me laugh.
Absolutely.
Bridget said, "Wow, this movie actually made me laugh at a fart joke," and I didn't laugh because I don't like that. But like, you know,
She
Look,
said, I didn't laugh because I'm a classy bitch.
I really liked the fart joke in the suit though.
Yeah, that was the one I laughed at.
in the suit, it is a little bit funny.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like have as much fun watching it and like
Yeah.
it that much. Like I was
Yeah.
kind of putting off watching it for the pod because I was like, I didn't watch this as a kid. Like I'm not gonna have the same like nostalgia thing. But I just genuinely enjoyed it. It
It's
was
just
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
It's just a fun movie to watch.
It's just goofy, yeah. It's really
And
good.
like when Shaggy's like, Scooby, who's your best pal? And Scooby's like, Raggy.
Yeah, I
And
know.
when Shaggy's like, and who's my best pal? And Scooby does
I'm
Ruby
gonna be a
Doo.
sacrifice.
Scooby does Ruby Doo. It's like I'm crying at the club right now, dude. That's what it's like having a dog.
Oh, dude, who's your best friend? She's like,
Yeah.
Reggie.
Raggy. He's like, who's my best friend? He's like, Ruby Doo.
Scooby Doo.
Ruby Doo. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Oh.
And
that
then,
how
just
you-
the Scrappy Doo reveal is so funny.
Franny did not see it coming.
You
as
did
an
No, I
adult.
didn't see it coming at all.
I
They
mean,
do
I didn't.
a flashback scene.
That's so
I know, but I
obvious.
thought that was just like kind of like like explaining why that character wasn't in it.
They said,
I don't know.
fuck
I mean, why would
him.
Scrappy Doo be here? Everyone hates Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, it's
I
got-
didn't really like watch too much Scooby Doo. I didn't really know too much of like the.
Scrappy Doo is
Fandom.
well known to be the worst.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty. I mean,
He's
Hanna
so fucking
Barbera.
obnoxious.
Hanna-Barbera, they always just made the same fucking shows like 50 times, and it was getting popular to have like baby versions of things. Like, we'll make Scrappy Doo, and everybody was like, "You're fucking with Scooby Doo right now. Get him
Right.
the fuck out of here. Get him out of here." That's how everybody's response was. So
Also, me and Bridget talked about this when we watched it. The scene where Velma is telling the flashback, like she's telling the guy about it, who
which
she
I truly believe in my heart of hearts, the only reason that guy exists is so she
is
could
so
tell
to
that
have that
flashback.
flashback
to him.
Correct.
for sure.
And also,
then
too,
she smooches him at the end, I guess.
But they wouldn't have cared about that. I really don't think they would have. But they
Right.
were like, well, we got to make him somewhat relevant other than just her being like these things.
Right. And she literally interacts with him once before that. And she doesn't actually speak to him. She just sees him in a place where she
He
also
stands
is.
next to her while she figures out their bullshit.
Yeah.
But we didn't realize that Velma was like drunk in that scene
like, as children,
as children until like we watched
Like,
as adults.
I had never seen.
Bridget was like, I just thought she was really happy.
I thought she was. I find it really funny, but I'd never seen anyone be drunk until I moved to. And not. it was like right before I moved to Cincinnati for the school year, the spring before, because I went to Taste of Cincinnati
Yeah.
and was walking around with my older cousin, and we saw this woman like literally falling over and like sitting on the ground.
Cincinnati is the best place to see drunk people. People go buck wild for no reason.
It's true. It's true.
Like, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? And I was like, I didn't know it was like that because I come from a very small town. Which, shout out if any of you are listening. I don't know if you are, but hey.
Hey, all 5 of you.
Hi.
Hey, all 5 of you in our town. That was a...
Yeah, it's just so funny because like you see these characters kind of like partying and like doing party things,
Yeah,
but it's
they're-
also very much a kids movie that like it kind of goes over the head.
They're really
Yeah.
trying to like do that like American Pie early 2000s thing and get away with it. And
It
they
did,
kinda-
right,
they
and they
fucking
kinda
did.
did.
They
I
really
mean-
did. Yeah.
I mean,
And-
somebody bought this movie for me and I watched it. I mean, not that my parents were ever very
And
strict.
you got James Gunn doing the screenplay, so the jokes
I know.
are
I
actually
love
funny.
the fact that James Gunn wrote this movie
And the sequel too.
And the sequel, yeah.
Which I thought it was just a sequel, but he wrote this one too. I didn't know that.
And he went on to make Guardians of the Galaxy, which
He sure did.
coincidentally is about another band of misfits and an
Yeah.
anthropomorphic animal.
And you know what's funny is when I knew that, there were elements that I was like, wow, this got, like, for instance, when he's talking about when they're on the plane and Fred flicks Scooby on the nose and then Scooby
Right.
fucking whole ass decks him in the face. I'm like, that was a Guardians of the Galaxy moment.
Yeah,
1,000%.
for
That
sure.
really was.
There, you saw the beginning lines of like that
This is
Rocket
funny.
versus Star Lord kind of.
Right, this is a funny dynamic
Mhm.
to play with.
Yeah, exactly. I could see the makings of it right there
Yeah.
and there. But
That's cool. I didn't know that it was the same guy as Guardians. He probably told me, but I think I just like completely didn't
Zoned
pay
it out,
attention to
yeah.
that. Yeah.
it's all good.
But I see the comparisons. That's kind of fun.
And I'll say this about the movie too is that it is whole ass original. I'll give it that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's got there's a really great movie. The only thing I can think to compare it to. Fuck, I'm gonna have to ask Pam what this movie is. 'Cause I don't
Shout
know
out
anybody
to
else.
Pam, our number one fan.
Pam!
Anyway, so
Everyone else, you won't know who Pam is or the context, but we have to say hi
if
to
we
Pam.
ever review Arsenic and Old Lace, she said we can call her and get her review. So
Oh my god.
We have to do that immediately.
anyway, so there's this movie about this family, and they're like, they're going camping, and they come across like a satanic cult, and it's like a serious horror movie where this cult hunts them down because they saw them doing these rituals. I can't remember what it's called. It's a great movie.
If you know what it is, comment down below.
Yeah, exactly. You'll know what it's like. It's like a super classic. That's the only thing I can compare the movie to because it's got this cult-like vibe and these sacrifices and stuff, but it's also like got this like misfit kind of group as well.
Yeah.
It's
Also got American Pie vibes.
True.
One of the things I love about this movie is like the way that the brainwashed college students talk.
Oh,
It's
Yes.
really fucking funny.
Amazing.
Like they
No.
do the joke more than once and it's funny all the time.
What's even better than all that is when a gentleman took his haircut seriously at the time approached that girl
no.
and was
Oh
thrown.
god, I know.
That haircut reminds me of like one of Sid's toys from Toy
it
Story.
really does.
It looked. Oh, boy.
And then, and in the background of that same scene, there's this man also in the line, and he has this like I hesitate to call it a goatee, but it's just the thinnest strip of facial hair on his chin.
Franny, do we need to yet again pause?
Is everything okay over there?
I'm yet
good.
again
I'm good.
asking you to pause.
There's Cheez-Its all over.
I'll pick
Oh,
them up
Lord.
later.
We've had
No. I don't want bugs. Should we pause? Do you
We're
want to
having
just
a
pick them?
Cheez-It
We can just
disaster.
pause for a
Let's
second.
be back.
Yeah.
We clean the Cheez-Its. Roro. Randy dropped all the Cheez-Its.
You do do a good Scooby Doo voice.
Yeah, or the
like it.
my shy usually go. Well, geez, Franny, dropping the Cheez-Its all over.
Drop the Cheez-Its all over the floor.
How am I gonna eat
That was
I
good.
only want you to talk to me like that from now on.
them? Wow, you're so pretty. Well, I just don't know what to tell you. Anyway, well, if they need another voiceover artist that's not Matthew Lillard or the guy doing it right now, I am available.
I mean, like,
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
really, really funny to me that you didn't know that the Scrappy Doo twist was coming, Franny. I'm
I
still
had no
thinking
idea.
about
It's
that.
hilarious.
I
And
have
she
no
went,
idea.
oh my god, grabbed my hand.
I was shook. I was like, that was one of the best plot twists I've seen in a movie.
Amazing.
You've seen Gone Girl. You've seen some.
No spoilers for
Okay,
Gone
no,
Girl.
no,
I
no.
haven't seen that
I
shit
You
saw-
yet.
don't know what this. You
Listen.
still don't know what it is.
Listen, I saw the twist in Gone Girl coming.
Wait.
I did not see this one.
Okay.
Have you ever seen The Usual Suspects?
No.
She's
We
her
should
mind's gonna
watch
be
that
fucking
movie. Oh my
blown.
god, they're gonna lose their shit when they figure it
Have
out.
you seen Usual Suspects?
No.
I have it on Blu-ray.
We should watch it.
We should. Anyway, the CG on Scooby Doo.
I
Oh
remember
my
when I
God,
was a
the
kid, like
CGI.
when Scrappy transformed into the monster, I was like kind of freaked out by that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I was also a little bit freaked out by like the floating heads, the body swap scene. I want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
I know. When we were talking about it before we reviewed it, I was like, "There's some not
Before
so."
Bridget wasn't here for that, so
I was like, "There's some
Where
not
was it?
so greatly aged moments."
and
You're
I was like,
what?
really? Like, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
This is the whole thing.
Yeah, and Fred's like being weird and like he keeps
Hey,
touching Daphne.
I can look at her boobs.
Myself naked.
He said,
And then
yeah.
Daphne's all like, Fred keeps touching me, and it's
And
like.
And then he looks down at her, he goes, "Righteous." And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
and he does it when he's Velma too. He's like,
Yeah.
oh,
No, I
weird.
think Shaggy was Velma, wasn't he?
no, they all.
They were all each other. At
Shaggy
various
was
points.
respectful.
Shaggy was a good man.
He's a fucking gentleman.
He was just
You're
like
right,
wiggling
you're right.
around and being weird.
He's like, "Wait, I hate this. I don't want to be anybody but me." Like, he was very nice, and then Fred was like, "I want to feel everyone's body." Anyway,
I also just like how the movie makes it a repeated joke that Fred is an idiot.
yeah, which is funny because if you look at the animated series, it was always that Shaggy was the idiot, but you can't have like this male lead who's got no flaws, who's like the perfect leader. And
Right.
You have to give him something, and that's what I think Zombie Island yet again was one of the first things that did that.
Yeah.
And that trope has stuck, and it's made Fred like an actual character.
Yeah.
He's an actual person instead of just I'm the leader with the ascot.
and like they do it in like a bunch of like subtle little ways that I didn't quite catch when I was a kid maybe. All of the time, like when Scooby's dressed as the grandma, Velma goes like, "No one is gonna be stupid enough to believe that." And then Fred shows up and he's like, "Hey, who's that old broad?"
Who's that old broad? Yeah.
Right, it's funny.
He's ridiculous.
But the CGI, Bridget wants to say her piece.
Can we talk about the monsters? Because what the fuck?
Are they rabbits? Are they dogs? Are they
They're
both?
weird looking as fuck.
Oh my god, the scene with Scooby and the monster in the forest, like when he was led
Oh,
away by the
hamburgers.
hamburger.
Yeah.
I was distraught
So
during
was
that
Dwight.
whole thing. Dwight, oh
Our
my
dog,
god.
no.
our dog was freaking out, like, "Run, Scoob!" Like, he was like, his eyes were just peeled
my God.
open.
Our
He
dog,
had that like 20-yard stare, like that 1,000-mile stare of like, "Is Scoob gonna be okay?"
our dog watched this whole movie. He sat there, he watched it. He
That's so
literally
funny.
did.
He could tell Scooby was supposed to be a dog when a
Yeah.
lot of people, I think, can't when they watch this movie.
Yeah.
The CG's
Scooby
tough,
doesn't
people.
look that
Our
bad.
dog
He
is
does
good at
look
that
pretty
kind of
bad.
thing.
I mean, but you got to consider the time. He looked really good for the time.
Yeah, and I mean, I think both with Scooby and the monsters, they look. What's going on?
She dropped something. I'm like, "You're not getting it back this time.
No,
Just
I'm
let it
fine.
go."
I dropped my hand exercise ball.
For the third time.
They look Scooby in the. I stopped hearing audio.
Oh,
Are you guys still hearing audio? Bridget,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm still hearing it.
We're hearing everything. We're good.
They look their best when they're interacting with the real environment. Like when Scooby and Shaggy are having conversations, or like Scooby's running around doing stuff at like the party scenes. They look pretty good. But then when it's just them, like the hamburger scene when he's like running up the trees and like running from the monsters,
Yeah.
it looks really bad.
They
It
try
does not
harder
look
with the
good.
cell. They try less hard with the cell shading, and they're like, "This is a cartoon part of the movie."
Right, and like the background doesn't look real either, and so none of it looks real, and it all looks weird and out of place. But again, I mean, product of its time though. Like this movie is. Some movies are timeless. This
And
movie is
Timed.
placed in time.
Yeah. And I like the one black character. He was into voodoo and yelled and screamed and got no
Yeah, and then like
redemption
the
on it.
Yeah.
luchador character and like.
Oh, the luchador character.
Though my favorite scene in the movie is when he gets his ass kicked. Like.
Oh yeah, but that's because he was also like didn't he say something like "You're a puny girl" or some shit? It's
Yeah.
like, all right, Sarah Michelle Gellar's about to Buffy the Vampire Slayer's ass right
Right,
here, right
yeah.
That
now.
was
Yay.
amazing.
But,
But
so
yeah, like
weird.
there are a lot of like yikes characters in this movie.
Yeah.
who? Yeah, it's a few of those moments.
And like, what is the point of the voodoo guy being there? You know, to tell her to go to the castle that she could have gone to on her own anyway.
Also, it's pretty fucked up that Simple Plan wasn't in this movie, but Sugar Ray was.
I know.
Simple Plan is Scooby. They're Scooby stands. They did the show.
Yeah, and they made
They made the theme song, What's New Scooby Doo. They're
What's
like,
a Scooby Doo?
coming after you. We gotta stop or get copyright stricken.
mystery.
Stop it. Anyway.
What's new Scooby
No! Anyway.
It's really wild. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I interrupting?
No.
You have more on that point. I'm
I
sorry.
just wanted to listen to what you were saying. That's all.
It's really weird watching Sarah Michelle Gellar in this after watching her in Buffy, especially at the beginning. I'm like, why don't you just like fucking stake his ass? I don't know.
It's true. It's a good question. It is.
And then like the castle scene is actually a really fun one, and it feels very classic.
So
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
I have one like pretty notable complaint about that one. And it's that everything's supposed to be animatronic, right?
Right.
That monster thing that comes out of the wall and growls at Scooby and Shaggy does not look like an animatronic at all.
Correct.
And it's just like really like they could have made it look faker, and yet they spent more money on making it look realer.
Right.
I'm kind of annoyed by that because I'm like, we could have really used some of that on some of the CG. You know what I'm saying? So that part annoyed me. And it also made it confusing as a kid when you're not connecting things quite well. You know, at some parts.
Also, like, there's a scene where it seems like it would just run Daphne right into a dead end on the ride.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
like,
is
where
that how
did
the
they
ride
go?
ends every time?
Yeah,
I
don't
wonder
know.
if it like
It ends in knives?
Right, or does that wall open up at some? I don't know.
Also, like, can we talk about the fact that a giant blade was thrust into Fred, but a singular book saved his life as he flew through a window?
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck was that?
But it feels very Scooby Doo when
Absolutely.
they're running around the castle.
I feel like they added that scene also to give it, because the rest of the movie, it's Scooby Doo, but it's very much like a plot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Party Scooby Doo.
They didn't have any like moment to put the Benny Hill theme. There wasn't like running through
Right.
random doors. Like they needed something there.
Yeah, and like, you know, they're running around and things seem like they're really happening, but they're not happening
Yeah.
the way you think they are, and like the gang splits up.
And who
And
is
it's
that?
a good time.
Who is that small man?
I think he's just like a henchman.
But okay, but what is he?
Yeah, what a...
What?
He starts the ride.
So okay, sure, but why? Why him? Why is he there? Why couldn't it have been a character that we already knew? And why does he go away?
He tells the guys to come and
Yeah,
get
what
him.
happens after that? Where does he go?
Well, they come and get him, and he tries.
But where
to help.
does he go? At the end
Well,
of the
no,
movie,
he tells them that they have that they found the Damon Rightus.
I know this. I know that. But here's the thing:
Yeah.
all the villains at the end all come together, but he's
Well,
not.
it has to be somebody small.
But where'd he go?
why?
Well, no. I accept the fact that he's a member of the team. Okay, he's part of the team. He's a Laker. I get it. Where the fuck does he go?
I presume that big dude with the head tattoos killed him because he let them
Why?
get Damon Rightus.
And also might I add that they were like, oh, what the? And they walk away and he like shakes all scared, but nothing happens to him. Is he still in the castle?
I don't know.
Where'd he
maybe
go?
maybe that's his job. He's the keeper of the castle.
But no, but the castle. I mean, they all got found out, and it was like
Also,
ground zero. You know what I mean?
I didn't quite understand the scene where where the Coast Guard was called, and then they laugh all
I
evilly.
know. I was
Nothing
getting there.
happens
You
with
beat me
that.
to it. I was like, who the fuck are they?
Yeah, that was odd.
And
Right,
where the
and then
fuck did
just
they go?
Nothing happens. They
I
just
feel like they're all on Mystery Island. Sorry, Spooky Island. And all three of them are hanging out like, hey, we didn't get caught. Isn't that something? That's pretty great.
right.
We're just going to live here now on this island. What the fuck?
Wait, who? The Coast Guard?
The Coast Guard's in that one midget. Sorry, small person.
Oh no.
No.
I mean, listen, I'm not, listen.
A little
no,
person.
No, I'm not playing this politically correct game on whether that is called that or not. I am not doing that.
All right.
I am not apologizing.
Oh my
because-
God! You said sorry, small person.
No. I'm sorry in the sense that I said it, but I'm not going to act like, oh, that was such a big faux pas. I'm canceled.
You are canceled.
I'm not.
But yeah, like, it seemed like
I'm pretty sure he was credited in the movie as a midget. So
It seemed like they called the Coast Guard station, and
They
then the
did.
guys just.
They went, haha, we're evil too. Lol, 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 lol. Where did they
but,
go?
like, well, I mean, I guess they were always just Coast Guards.
But are they just continuing to be evil there?
Presumably.
Our evil plan didn't work, so we'll go back to being Coast Guards.
Yeah, I don't understand what their function was. Like, if you're gonna do that, why even have them call the Coast
Maybe they
Guard?
went insane, grew sailor beards, went off to work at a lighthouse, and that's where the lighthouse starts.
Ooh. The Lighthouse Scooby Doo
Yeah.
extended universe. The extended cinematic universe.
Mermaid pussy. That's upsetting.
I hate that.
upsetting. I
Thank
didn't like
you.
it at all. Mermaid pussy.
You sound like you liked
did.
it. I mean, you just said it.
I just said it
Yeah.
on recording.
Mermaid pussy.
Why quit saying it? God.
But yeah, like where did they? What was their? Like, why even call the Coast Guard if they're not gonna show up? Like, why even have a scene in the movie where the characters call the Coast Guard only to have them not show up?
I think from a director perspective, that was to show the helplessness of the characters.
Yeah, but then nothing happened.
But here's my actual
and
argument.
they don't even acknowledge it. They don't even.
Why
wake up
would
and be
Mary
like,
Jane call the Coast Guard if she's already fucking evil?
Well, and then like it's not like they wake up on the beach and they're like, "Damn, the Coast Guard never came." They don't even talk about it. They never discuss it. They're like, "Wow, isn't that weird? The Coast Guard never showed up." Nope.
Yo. Actually, the video where they're showing like this is how you act as a that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, that shit's fucking
so funny.
That's like very smart and super funny. I loved it. But yeah. Wow, what else is there to say? I mean, we all loved it. We all have great things to say about it.
other than those-
All the negative things I have to say, just don't take away enough for the
Right,
movie
it doesn't
from
upset me. I'm like, it's fine. It's Scooby Doo. What do I give a shit about?
Yeah, and even
again,
then,
2002 was a different time
well,
than it is now.
even with all that said, the movie is successful in the
Yeah.
sense of what it was trying to do. It was trying to be like a teen movie for kids that is loaded with fun and all the hijinks of
And
Scooby-Doo.
then and then give us some nostalgia about Scooby Doo.
Yeah, and it did that.
Yeah,
I liked
really
it a
fun.
lot.
I liked the plot line a lot.
It's the
I
same-
really liked the twist. I did not see Scrappy Doo coming.
This
Oh my
movie
God.
and this movie and Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius are like the perfect
that
kids
shit.
movies. You know what I mean?
Jimmy Neutron Boy
They
Genius.
really kill it. That's another one we should review at some point.
And then I also love Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed.
I know.
I think it's great.
I have different opinions on that one, but we'll get to that one day.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, and I might have very different opinions on it now, watching it as an adult versus a kid.
I will say
But
this.
I remember watching that movie a lot as a kid, and I remember Velma being fucking smoking in that movie.
Yeah, I know what scene you're talking about
She
too.
was hot as fuck. When she says what does she say?
Oh my
Did she
god.
say who's your daddy or who's your mommy or something like
who's
that?
your mama or something like that?
And I'm like,
to Seth Green, right? Wasn't it?
Amazing.
I forgot Seth Green was in that movie.
Yeah, he's like the
Yeah, he's the
intro-
guy. Yeah.
He's the fake out. And we're reviewing Scooby-Doo 2 on accident right now, so let's not.
I love Seth Green. Ever since Buffy, I've had like the biggest crush on him, and he's like so
Seth
weird.
Green?
Seth Green?
I'm dead
I
ass.
don't
he
know
played,
who this is.
I feel like
He
you don't
played
know who
Oz.
Seth Green is.
Is there do I have
He played
Probably.
Is
Oz.
that true?
do I have a soundbite that is
Yes.
Boo on here?
I hope.
Because Seth Green is not great.
He played Oz in Buffy.
I don't remember. I haven't seen Buffy in a very long time.
He
But
played Willow's boyfriend
He
before
also
she was
plays
gay.
Brian on Family Guy, and that makes me want to fucking throw up. So there's that. Robot Chicken. Don't
For
like
some
that
reason,
shit
my
either.
association with Seth Green is Dr. Evil's kid in Austin Powers.
But he was actually funny in that
He
role.
actually was funny, but that's my association with him.
Or I like.
Wasn't he in the original It movie, or am I making
Yes.
that
He
up?
was.
Yes.
He was Richie.
Yeah,
He was
he was
Richie,
Richie,
yeah.
yeah.
He wanted to play adult Rich, and everybody was like, "No, stop,
No.
sit down, sit down." Nobody needs that.
I feel like he doesn't have the range.
He doesn't have the range like Bill Hader has the range.
Bill Hader
Sorry,
is so
Seth.
good, man.
I love Bill Hader.
Finn Wolfhard knew what he was talking about when he cast him.
What?
You know, Finn Wolfhard's the reason
Yeah,
he got
he
that
wanted
job.
it to be
he
Bill Hader.
campaigned him for that job. Yeah, nobody else would have thought to cast Bill Hader as Finn Wolfhard. Like that guy would be perfect.
Right.
And he was like, and I think Bill Hader like publicly thanked him for the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, little Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah, I know. Good
He
job,
did
buddy.
that for us.
We'll forgive you for the turning.
I mean, it wasn't his fault. His agent did it, I'm sure.
Yeah, but we can't be like, oh, he can take credit for Bill Hader, but the turning's not his fault. He had a say. He had a say. He's one of the biggest actors in Hollywood as far as like kid actors. He had a say. Anyway, we might be dumping too much on Finn
His
Wolfhard
parts
right now.
were good though.
Something smells weird in here. Anyway,
I'm
that's
smelling
You
anything.
always say
I
that,
smell
and
anything.
nobody can ever smell anything besides
It might be
you.
the ghost in here.
so ghost.
We'll go on a Scooby Doo
I'm
adventure.
trying. I can never do the Scooby yell. I've always I just sound like I'm. Like it just sounds like I'm yelling.
Zoinks.
Zoinks, Scoob. Yeah.
Honestly, the worst part of the Scooby Doo movie is when Velma says, "Let's get jinky with it." That's
Let's
the
get-
worst part of the
Let's
movie
get
by
jinky.
far.
Because you know that Will Smith song was like blowing up at the time.
Right.
But they were like, we can't put it in the movie.
It's by far the worst part of the movie.
Let's do ratings, y'all.
All
Yeah.
right.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since it was my pick. I give Scooby Doo a B+.
Wow, that's actually lower than I thought you'd
Really? You thought I was going to give it an A? I thought about it. Yeah, you know what? Actually.
Fuck it.
Fuck
She
it. It gets
said-
an A. I love
Boom!
that shit.
Boom. There you go. Matthew Lidler. What up?
Shout out to him.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Wow.
I really
Nice.
enjoyed it.
I'm gonna give it a 8.
I am going to give it an 8.
All right.
Because of this, there are so many options for nostalgia bait live action films. There's Woody the Woodpecker. There's Sonic, which wasn't too bad. But there's tons of these movies, and none of them were as entertaining to me.
Right.
I mean, this movie is like, it's disgustingly entertaining. There
Yeah.
are parts that you're laughing at. You're like, that's so stupid, but I fucking love that shit.
Right. And like that speaks to James Gunn.
Melvin
talent, dude.
Dew.
Melvin Dew is the funniest joke.
Oh
and
my
then the
God.
callback to Melvin Dew in the end. That shit's fucking funny.
Yeah, that got me.
Like,
that
tell me
got
that's not funny.
I give this
Melvin
movie a
Dew.
Melvin out of a Dew. There's a call here for a Mr. Dew. Stands up. Melvin Dew?
Nah, Scooby.
No,
As he
Scooby.
removes the eye patch from his fully seeing eye.
You come into the woods, we have a bag of hamburgers. Okay.
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers?
And then at the end, they're like, don't you mean Melvin Dew? That shit's funny.
All right, guys. We reviewed that. We're going to take a quick
We
break,
did
and
it.
then we'll do Donnie Darko.
Oh, I want to talk about one thing really
let's do it,
quick.
let's do it.
I just want to talk about the thread which links Scooby Doo and Donnie Darko, which is that both include a joke about Papa Smurf.
That's true. They do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So isn't it funny how things all come
And
together?
they both
Isn't it weird how
They both have costumed characters as well.
and they both have
Yes.
planes.
Wow, the Scooby Doo Donnie Darko extended cinematic universe.
We've discovered you.
I'm just saying the interconnectedness of all
Well,
things.
that's a mad world.
Oh my god! Zoinks.
All around us are familiar faces. Worn out places. Anyway, we back.
Here we are.
We're talking about Donnie Darko. Why did that
What?
make you laugh so hard? She's like,
That got me.
why? Donnie Darko got you?
You know, forget Donnie Darko. We should be talking about S. Darko, that terrible sequel they made.
That's what the guy asked us to do.
What?
Right? The comment said Donnie Darko and S. Darko.
Did he
right?
say S. Darko? I don't remember.
What's S Darko?
It's a terrible sequel they used to make money.
No one should
Who's
watch.
it about?
His sister, I think, right?
Yeah, Samantha.
Oh God.
We're fulfilling half your request by doing Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Thank you
Which
for
is a movie
requesting.
that we
well,
we
actually,
love
real
that.
quick, I'll review S. Darko for you. 0 out of 10. Genuinely, it's not a
F.
joke. Seriously, 0 out of 10.
Bad movie.
It's really fucking bad. Homeless war vet wearing a bunny costume. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Okay, so I just want to say this. In order for us to even dive into what we're talking about, I want Bridget, who has not been informed of what this movie is really about, to kind of tell us what it's about in her mind.
Yeah, because okay, so
Yes.
me and Logan have probably seen Donnie Darko. You've seen
Over 20 times.
you've seen it more than me. I've seen
Yeah.
it a few times.
I've
Franny's seen it like twice,
Yeah.
and then she got filled in.
Yeah.
But Bridget knows nothing. She saw Donnie Darko with virgin eyes, never having seen it before. So we want to know what Bridget thinks Donnie Darko is about.
Persuasion.
One of these.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You could just say it, Madison.
I was trying to let you talk and signal to Logan that I wanted a drink.
I mean, like, I don't even know what I'm gonna say yet. Like,
What do you mean? What do you think it's about?
Okay,
What's the timeline?
the time. I cannot tell you the timeline,
To
dude.
be fair, that's the hardest question that could be asked about this
Right.
movie. But I think I got it. I'm pretty confident.
Okay,
Are
so
you?
here's
I mean, I wrote a fucking essay on this movie. I at least got a little bit more than the average Joe.
Can I have one almond?
You know how much water is wasted on making one singular almond?
Oh my god, don't fucking start.
What?
In this water crisis we were having during a pandemic, We were eating
Almonds take so much water. It's like 3 gallons of water for just one almond.
Worth every gallon.
Is that why they're so fucking expensive?
Yeah.
No. It's not. It's because the markets are terrible and people can charge whatever they want.
You're right.
But anyway, Bridget, tell us about Donnie Darko, please.
Okay, so
I'm begging you to tell us about Donnie Darko.
I-
I'm once again asking.
Come on.
I was trying to give you the ASMR of me chewing.
Listen, I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion right now.
Okay. So it's about this high schooler kid. Fucking Franny just
Annie!
dropped her ball again.
Now, you know what? Before we get into this, I just want to say I'm like so self-conscious about how loud I'm being now because one person was like, "That guy's loud." And I'm like,
That guy's
"Oh."
loud, but he said you were funny though.
Doesn't matter.
He
I
said
only
the guy is really loud but funny.
I don't like
I think
that.
he said too loud.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's even worse.
Franny, can I see your little ball that you have?
Yeah.
I just want to squeeze it.
See with your eyes, not your hands, motherfucker. You know that quote? Never mind. Sam
Yeah.
Jackson, I love you.
I was gonna say, is that my mom at the store when I was like 4?
Did your mom say
I'm
motherfucker?
also
Yes.
even better yet. I'm also like 3 or 4, and I'm just standing there watching. Like I will use this in the future, like 20 years in the future.
Hey, it's
Like-
about to be
Almost
exactly 20 years ago that you were 5. Logan's birthday is tomorrow.
Why the fuck are you doxing me like this?
Hey,
What did you not?
Why is everybody always doxing each other?
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you. Wait, isn't that copyrighted by somebody?
Yes.
for he's
He's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. Which nobody
You
can
can't deny.
deny. Woo!
Except
We
for
did
the
it.
guy who said I was too loud.
He didn't say you weren't
Aw.
jolly though.
Guys, tell Logan happy birthday and that he's a great volume.
A jolly good
Please.
fellow.
I do not want comments like that. We're like, "Happy birthday, you fuck!" Like I don't need any of
Oh,
Please comment happy birthday, you fuck.
that. Don't do it.
please.
I'm begging.
Stop.
Okay, Bridget, what's Donnie Darko about, dude?
Okay, so Donnie Darko. It's about this high schooler.
What's his name?
Donnie Darko, dude.
It's actually Donald Darko.
Well,
You
I'm sorry,
simple bitch.
everyone.
Donald Darko, as I said.
Donnie Darko. It's actually Scooby Doo.
You get what you fucking deserve.
Scoobert Doo.
Scoobert, dude.
Scoobert.
Or as the Scoob trailer says, Scooby
Yeah.
Dooby Doo.
We're done with Scooby Doo. Okay.
I'm sorry.
But he's like really edgy. What'd you say?
Scooby Doo is a better movie. No, I'm just playing. It's not.
We're gonna get hate comments, Madison.
I mean,
said
from me
just
alone,
kidding.
from
I
me
said I
alone, you
was
could
just
hate
kidding.
comments.
Anyway, there's this high schooler, and he's really edgy.
Yeah.
He's an edgelord.
But he's not trying to be.
He's
That-
not
that's
trying
why
to
He
be.
isn't though. As a character, he's just.
I don't know
guess
if
He
that's
has so
true.
many emotional issues. He's just this edgy as a result of his emotional issues.
That's why this was
Like-
little Logi's favorite movie. He was a little
Because
edgy
Logan had
boy.
emotional issues. No, I'm just kidding.
I
was
mean,
just a little
if it
edgy
walks like a
boy.
duck.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah.
So, okay.
I think you're weird. Yeah, sorry. No,
No,
that's
It's
a compliment.
like,
And then every like 15-year-old boy just like jizzed in their pants on the spot.
correct.
What kind of name is that? It's like you're a superhero. How do you know I'm not?
Where are you going? Home.
So stupid. So stupid. I hate myself.
I should die. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, Bridget, not to interrupt you.
Okay, high school boy, edgy. His name is Donnie Darko. I'm trying to get it all out before I'm interrupted again. It's fine.
I'm
You
in
can
major
interrupt me.
deja vu right
I'm
now.
just fucking around.
No, we're just kidding. We'll stop.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind.
Sounds like you mind.
I was just fucking around, guys.
Okay.
Anyway, he has emotional problems. He's a therapist. And he also is starting to see this bunny, and like the bunny is like, hey, yo, the world's gonna end in like this exact amount of time. And Donnie is like, thanks for telling me. I'm gonna write on my arm. And
Thanks.
he did.
Thank you, Frank. Do you have a pen? He grabbed it off the fridge, though.
He did.
Fair point.
Oh.
Do you have any paper? Oh, well.
So many bad arm tattoos. That's just like the Donnie Darko numbers.
Really? I've
Logan,
never seen those.
Logan was just saying he wanted to get that.
Oh, no.
We're done. Goodbye.
The gang's breaking
Have a good
up.
night.
Oh, no. I was sorry.
Would it be like the full arm?
Yeah, are you going to get it that big?
Not anymore.
No, I'm just asking.
I didn't know what I was going to
There's-
do. I'm definitely not getting it now.
Oh, no. Don't let me stop you.
There's no judgment. I've never seen it, so it's
I'm the
original
most-
to me.
I'm the most judgy tattoo person
She's the
in
worst.
the world.
I feel really proud that she likes my
That's
tattoos.
your lady. She's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the worst about the tattoos.
I am. I'm really judgy about tattoos. Don't let me stop you from living your dreams.
Like,
If you have a Donnie Darko arm tattoo, like, that's good for
I'll
you.
just get a cellar door tattooed on me.
Right. You know what I think actually could be really cool is, like, the bunny suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure,
be done
I'm
very
sure
cool.
that's done, but yeah.
If
He
you wanted
made
to
that at the
page-
yarn barn. A lot of people don't realize that.
At the yarn barn.
Yeah, he's dating Donnie's sister, and they met at the yarn barn, and he was able to make his costume because he worked at the yarn barn.
Oh, that's
What?
cool.
You
Frank's
just
very
connected
artistic.
dots that Bridget did not understand.
What?
Wait, what are
He's
you confused
real?
about?
Hold
Frank
up.
is real. What the fuck? What are you saying?
Keep going.
Continue.
Hmm.
Bridget did fall asleep for a little bit.
I did fall asleep for a little
But then
bit.
we went back and watched it, so I thought that she was up to speed.
No, it's also been like a week since I've seen it.
What kind of excuse is that?
I don't have a very good memory.
What? I know, like, it's been a week. Do you know how much has happened in a week? I've seen no other movies other than the Scooby Doo.
And the
No, I've seen
and the
other
world
movies.
has ended with
What
this
else have you
pandemic.
watched
It's been a
since?
stressful week.
I watched Freaks. I rewatched the entirety of the first season of The End of the Fucking World, and then I watched the second season. And I've consumed a lot of media.
Wait,
So,
so
hold on,
tell
hold on,
us
hold on.
about Frank.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I do remember that now, though.
Okay.
Sure.
Frank is actually one of the classmates, and he...
Yep.
No.
Let
No?
her continue.
Oh, God.
Who's Frank? Tell us.
I'm going to
I
get...
like your boobs, air quotes, Seth Rogen. First film of all time. First words ever spoken on film. I like your boobs. What a moment.
like...
Is Jerry Trainer is in this movie, right?
Sure
Am
is,
I
yeah.
Carly fame?
Yeah, sure is.
Oh, it's amazing.
Wait, he is? Who
yeah,
is he?
he's
Yeah.
one of the kids who's like,
Who stands up in the assembly?
mine's blah, blah, blah. You know, he's like,
I think he's like, what am I gonna do when I grow up? Or something.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm
Yeah.
Crazy Jerry.
Crazy
It's
Steve.
Crazy Steve, yeah, sorry.
His real name's Jerry, and he's Spencer and iCarly.
Listen, I got to be honest with you. I only watched Drake and Josh. I didn't really see the other show, but I've heard it's good, so I don't know.
Oh,
Are they connected?
No.
no.
Okay. I didn't know.
I mean, that's valid.
But anyway, please continue to tell us about Frank.
I feel like I'm like fucking all of this up, and
You
now I'm really
are, and it's
nervous.
great.
Listen,
I'm really nervous that like they're gonna
Live your
come for me in
truth.
the comments.
No, it's okay. Nobody's gonna come
Trust
for
me.
you.
They're gonna be like that.
They're
Brie
gonna
chick
come
is
for the people who
stupid.
actually think that they know shit about Donnie Darko more than you.
yeah.
Because you just don't know because you've only ever seen it the one time. But then we're
and
gonna
also
start
fell
saying
asleep during
shit
it once.
about the
3
universes
a.m.
and stuff, and they're gonna be like, actually,
Which I want to lead in on that because I have a little extra bit, and then we'll
yes.
both go
But
through
I'll
it.
let Bridget go first. We'll let Bridget get into it.
Okay. Now I'm still nervous.
No.
So anyway, he's seeing this bunny dude named Frank, like the guy in Shameless, and Logan's face. Also Madison's face.
No one takes the L train. Okay, I'm done with this. Let's keep going.
But please keep going because your summer has very little plot in a long
Yeah.
period of
I
time.
gotta be honest with you. So far, we know there's a guy named Donnie and a guy named Frank, and maybe or maybe not he went to school with him.
What's the plot? What happened?
Anyway, so an airplane engine, like little Donnie, he leaves.
Little Donnie. Little Donnie.
the demasculating of him, though.
I know.
Little Donnie,
I love
that little boy.
Oh, shit.
Not a man, but a boy.
He is a boy, really.
He really
He
is, but I
really
just thought it
is.
was funny that you said little Donnie.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a baby in this. Also,
And so is his sister too.
yeah. Anyway, he goes and he sleepwalks to the golf course. And that's when he is told by Frank that the world will end. And in that time, an airplane engine crashes into his house, into his room directly.
It would have killed him.
And it would have killed him. And it didn't, because he was at this golf course. Lucky him. And
Or was he?
listen.
Madeline.
All around me are familiar. Sorry.
And so then he goes back home, and everything is crazy. And they're like,
Is it a mad world?
it's a mad world, dude.
What'd you say?
Dun, 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 dun. I just love that. I'm sorry. And they get out the back of the school bus. I love that whole scene. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The cocaine. It's all great.
So anyway, he goes home. Things are crazy, but like, meh. And
I feel like this is the slowest summary of
I'm
Donnie
so
Darko.
sorry. I'm trying to speed it up.
I'm just kidding. Go on.
I'm just like, I'm struggling.
I less want to know the plot of the movie. Well, I do want to know the plot of the movie from your eyes, but I also want you to,
What was the meaning of this movie?
and like so like I don't know. I want to know what your explanation of the movie is too.
Yeah, what happened? Just like a general what happened.
But I mean, keep
Okay.
going with your summary because I like it. But like, I also what I mostly
Sorry, I love that
Are you
song.
done?
Yeah, I'm done. Okay.
I mostly want to
That coming
know.
from you is hilarious, by the way, Miss McCavity.
What I also want to know is how. Like, what is your explanation
Why?
for the movie?
Why, when I reach for the ball, you pull it away?
I don't want you to have it. I want it.
I just wanted to touch it.
No. It's yours now.
Well,
I literally
don't
just
think you
wanted
have,
to
think
touch
it's
it.
do you have the
mine.
clearance to give that away?
Oh my lord! Can we
Okay.
please continue,
So
Bridget? What happens
he's seeing
next?
this bunny. He keeps telling him that the world's gonna end and shit. And then Donnie's like doing weird shit to like the school. And like
I dropped the ball.
And I'm head over
Oh, there it
heels,
is. There it is. There it is.
rolling the
Oh, sorry, please.
so like he like fucks up the pipes at the school, and it floods, and the school's canceled. And also there's a new girl there, and Gretchen.
Mhm.
But Gretchen really isn't her name. And
I guess that is true, yeah.
it's something else, but we don't know what it
We
is.
don't get to know.
And so he floods the school.
They're her theories, that's all I gotta say.
He floods the school, and
They made him do it.
They made him do it. And he goes to his therapist. And the plot line in this is all screwy, by the way. I'm not sure how accurate my plot line is going
I
to be.
can tell you right now, it's not. That's okay.
He goes to his therapist later on, and like she's like, let's try hypnosis theory. I'm sorry, hypnosis.
Oh, then he tries to jack it.
And like, he's asleep.
I wouldn't try to fuck my family, it's gross.
Yeah.
It's like, bruh, you're way past gross. You're way past cool.
And like, he tries to like masturbate, and she's like, okay, and you're awake now. And he's like, okay, I'm awake now. What's up?
Why are my hands
And-
in my pants?
Yeah, why are my hands in my pants? And then he learns about time travel because of the crazy lady.
Roberta Sparrow?
Yes, Roberta Sparrow.
Grandma Death?
Grandma Death, yeah. And he finds a book that she published.
He finds it.
He is given a book by Stop.
Looks like he finds it in a little hole in the ground. What's this?
He's given this book.
Roberta Sparrow didn't give him the book, it was Gargamel who did.
It's Gargamel.
Yeah.
And so he reads the book, and he's like, I feel like I'm seeing the same shit that's in this book. And his
She's
therapist
whack.
is like, yeah, you're schizophrenic. All right. And I mean, she doesn't say that to him. He's the parents. But then he's like, I see the exact same shit. And then and then Gretchen was like, if you could go back and like take all the pain back, all that shit, would you do it? And then his mom and his little sister went to this competition.
Sparkle Motion.
I seriously doubt your dedication to Sparkle
yeah,
Motion.
So I see you're trying to lay out what happened, but to you, what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I understand what you're doing. You're laying out, but we could do that. I want to know what
Yeah, that's
Bridget
what I
walked
was
away
trying
with.
to,
Yeah.
like, to you the direction
Okay,
of. Like,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No,
like
don't
at
be
the
sorry.
end, at the end
I'm
of the
just
film,
very
which is where
curious.
you're going.
Okay, so what I thought
Or
happened.
are you?
Where are you? The end
Am
of the
I?
film where you're going, where Donnie,
Spoilers.
spoilers, where Donnie realizes that the world is ending and he has to go to Roberta Sparrow's house. When he's there, the house is being robbed. And so it becomes this whole thing. Long story short, Gretchen gets killed, right?
Yes.
And so then he goes. Do we need to pause?
So let me just get. She's saying all this.
So, but anyway, Gretchen dies and he kills Frank in a bunny suit. The real.
Right, yes.
I don't want to say the real Frank, but like Frank is there in that moment, alive, and he kills him. And then he goes sort of like to the edge, like almost like a cliff.
Hmm.
And then he wakes up there, goes home, and is killed by the same falling jet engine.
Yes.
What happened?
Well, I feel like I don't know, dude.
All right. So,
Oh my God. You
no.
had a take when we watched it.
I thought that the mom and the sister, because you have to be, to travel back in time, you have to be like in an airplane type thing. And I thought that like sort of Frank, I don't know. But I thought the mom and the sister traveled back in time. But I don't know.
All right.
That was it.
I got you. So
No,
Thank
you had more.
I don't remember what it
explain,
was.
We'll go ahead and start explaining what happened, and then she'll probably pull more from what she thought. So, in order to even start talking about what happened in Donnie Darko, you have to acknowledge the two main theories of time travel, right? There's repercussion time travel, which is like kind of like Back to the Future style. You change something in the past, it changes the future. And then there is the multiverse theory time travel.
And Bridget and I were talking about this.
And from a lot of multiverse, there's a lot of different types of multiverse theory time travel. And this film relies on the tangent theory. And the tangent theory is all about there can be a multiverse if there's a mess up outside of God's plan, but it will always collapse in on itself because it's not a part of God's path. So
And so if the path isn't corrected,
by
everything will explode.
exactly. So Donnie,
And it's funny because when we watched this movie, Bridget was talking about her problem with time travel and how when you go back in time, like eventually you just get almost in a loop of having to go back and fix things.
Mhm.
And so the multiverse theory of time travel is not this.
no, multiverse theory has no runnings of what will happen from the past based on what's happening in the future. So like
It's not really like a future past scenario.
yeah, exactly. It's not time isn't linear in a multiverse kind of concept. It's not like going forward. It's just there's a tangible universe.
A plan for time.
God's path in this
God's
film.
path and whatnot, and it goes. But then there are like splits in such a way. And then those splits happen separately, or not necessarily separately, but happen tangentially to the main track.
And then here's
and you have to, in this film particularly, you have to write it.
yeah. So Donnie's basically chosen by God
Right.
to be what they call a receiver, and he's received the gifts
Yes.
in order to right whatever has been wronged in the universal track. Everything that happens with Frank, with him, is almost irrelevant. It has nothing to do with them having to switch around the future or the past. Frank is not what triggers the tangent universe. We don't get to know what actually did.
And it's sort of believed to be almost random.
Yeah, it is random, essentially. There's people that think that it might have something to do with the Gretchen character, but I don't believe that. And also, what happens is there's two groups of entities that are going to try to essentially bumper cars Donnie down the right path, because there's no way he can outwardly know for sure God is talking to me.
Right.
So as a result, you can go ahead.
So basically what happens is when...
Have your face resting on the microphone?
Do you need a minute, Franny?
No,
I know you got a phone call. I just wanted to make sure.
I'm good.
Okay.
I just like the feel.
No,
of
you
them.
can't. It makes
You
noise every
can't.
time
It
you
does?
slightly
Oh,
breathe. Yes.
Okay, I
It does
won't
feel
do it.
nice, though.
It really does.
It's good.
Oh, he gave me another phone cap to press on my face.
So basically,
I love
when
you.
like the tangent universe begins when the jet engine falls through, right? And so
Well, no,
or,
technically,
well, no, not really, but like
not really. No, actually, we really don't get to know when
yeah,
it
I
starts,
guess that's true. I guess
because
they're always
it's already has started before, because Donnie is taken by what they call. Well, let me explain this part first. There's the manipulated dead, or as they call them, the MDs, or then there's the manipulated undead, the MUs. There are either people who are subconsciously, through the power of God, forcing Donnie down a certain path. And those people are not aware they're doing it, and they're alive and totally real and tangible. Characters like Drew Barrymore, characters like the other professor, the mother, the father. These
so
are all living
everything
people.
that every character in the movie does is done to help Donnie fix the hole that's been made or realign the
realign into God's channel.
Right.
So the manipulated dead, though, are only people that the receiver has caused to die, literally.
Right.
So that's why you see Frank, and that's where actually there's a huge contention whether Gretchen is a manipulated dead or not. That's actually one of the little theories that are within the film that isn't guaranteed or not, one way or the other.
Yeah.
You don't know if Gretchen's actually there or if she isn't.
Yeah.
And that plays a lot into the interests of the characters themselves. But there's tons of things that are pushing Donnie towards the future that has to happen. For instance, there's a man in a tracksuit who always flashes around a flashlight
Yes.
and always comes up on Donnie and Gretchen. The reason for this is that's actually the car, a physical representation of the car
I understood this one. I got this one right away.
that Frank uses to run over Gretchen. And then there's all these moments about Frank this, Frank that. Everybody in the universe keeps using Frank for different, like that name and that concept for different reasons.
Right.
And it's just kind of showing Donnie or pushing Donnie to that specific point
Yes.
where he's going to correct everything.
So Bridget, do you follow?
Kind of.
So
the
Yes,
the
actually.
entire movie takes place in this tangent universe, which is not a real one. I
That's
mean,
why-
it is a real one, but it's not the universe wherein the characters normally live.
and unlike Vanilla Sky, that is why the characters are all campy and weird and odd and quirky.
And so Donnie has been chosen for whatever reason to be the one to fix this. And so in order to fix this, whenever this tangent universe happens, as I understand it, you have an artifact,
Yeah.
like a metal object. And so that artifact is the
Physical
the
jet engine.
And so in order to write the universe, to bring everything back in line, the artifact has to be returned to the regular universe. I don't want to say the real universe, but like to return to the universe in which it came.
So the object also always has a reason or a way to do with how the receiver itself will eventually close the loop.
Right.
It's the lock or the key. It's either one. It closes the door. So the engine, in a sense, opened the door with Donnie avoiding it and was kind of the beginning cantrip that led him down this specific path. But it's also the thing that he needed to close the tangent universe. But understand that it's not actually a part of the reason why there was a tangent universe in the first place.
Right. It's just sort of like they call it an artifact.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of like a leftover, or not a leftover, but like something from somewhere else that came into this universe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess like the universe was already
Messed up before that.
I don't know. Does the artifact occur at the time of the split?
No,
Or
it occurs after. It
Okay.
chooses all the artifact does is it chooses the receiver. That's it.
okay, so he in order to write it, he has to get it back to the universe.
If you think about it this way, I think this is the best like physical representation I can tell you. So let's say there's 6 lunch boxes, right? And he's starving to death.
Oh, Lord.
Let's say there's 6 lunch boxes and he's starving to death and he has 1 key. He's going to try every single one until he opens the right one. The item for him, the jet plane, is he doesn't, you don't necessarily know what he's supposed to do with it. He doesn't necessarily know what he's supposed to do with it. But that's the thing that's going to eventually close everything up. It's like an item that was given to him, a tool to fix everything. So,
like the symbolic nature of returning that artifact back is
yes.
what closes everything up.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, there's other things to discuss about the film, and one of them is that a receiver is generally somebody that no one will miss. And it's sad, but it's true, and that's why God picks them, because it's somebody who, if they were taken out of the equation of everyone else's life, affects it very minimally to none. If you notice something about Donnie, and it's very sad, he was kind of invisible in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Not that even to his own family, who took his mental illnesses and everything kind of like, oh, well, he's just a troubled kid, whatever. But they paid more attention to the daughter, who had talented gifts, and more attention to the older sister,
Who's going to Harvard?
who was going to Harvard, had a lot to offer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Donnie's just kind of to them. I mean, they may not ever say it or really realize they even think it, but he's kind of the unimportant kid to them. I mean, and he's unimportant in the sense of like what he brings to the table in general. I mean, he had the super high test scores, but he's a troubled kid. He doesn't really fit into society. The same can be said about Roberta Sparrow, which is why it's a theory that she's a receiver who found a way to live. And how she went from, I mean, if you think about it, God, if he was going to choose anybody to carry out a task, wouldn't he pick a nun?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Forgot she was a nun.
Yeah. And then overnight she became a science teacher.
Yeah, and I mean, then she wrote the book on it, so
Yep.
that makes sense to me. I'd never actually heard that theory, but that makes a lot of sense to me.
And then the other one is, I always forget the Asian girl's name. It's things like Chu Lin, right? What was it again? The one girl who dances.
I know it started with a CH. Yeah.
yeah,
I know you're talking about that.
So I believe she is either a future receiver or already was one. Because she doesn't listen to people. She isolates herself in a societal way where she doesn't want to be a part of any of it. And she's going to be someone who, if singled out and was to be gone, it wouldn't matter. So she could very well have been a receiver already herself or will become one. But you catch these things like, for instance, she was aware that Donnie's last acts were coming as she danced to a literal swan song for him.
right.
And then not to mention, she had a clear obsession with him.
Yes.
But it wasn't from the sense of like, somebody was finally nice to me, or from the sense of like, I'm so infatuated with him, I love him. It was almost like a studying, as she literally had a study book with his name physically on the cover. So
I forgot about that.
So what you're getting from that is that she's also either going to be a receiver, was a receiver, whatever it may be.
The only thing I would say about that is like the receivers don't tend to know
But
that they will receive.
So then maybe the argument is maybe she is one, or maybe at the same time she's one for a different reason. Maybe they're both receiving at the same time. Could be that
within the same tangent universe.
Yeah, and it could be that God chose both. Seeing who accomplishes the task. It could be in a way, it could be multiple different reasons, but it's clear that she is on a different level than others, and her character is significant.
Yes.
And it's not just significant of Donnie's a good guy. He's not, everybody else is a bully and he's a superhero. No, because this character is much more complex than that.
Yeah.
Because even those who want to help her and be nice to her, she tells them to shut up. She wants to get out. She wears physical fucking earmuffs to not be involved in people's things. And when the teacher goes and leaves the school to yell so nobody hears her yell fuck, the only person there to hear it is someone who would never listen.
Holy shit.
Right? This movie is fucking, it's up there. And, another thing that kind of upsets the Donnie Darko community, and there is a community, let me tell you something, there is a fucking community.
Hi, boys.
Is Richard Kelly, who I have a lot to say about, but let me just say this part first.
Who's Richard Kelly?
He's the director and writer of the film.
Gotcha.
He put out a director's cut of the film.
I have
And
not seen it.
What it did was this movie was the kind of movie where you could watch it and get multiple meanings out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And he flat out eliminated one for no reason, which was the pills. People thought the pills may have something to do with it, because every single time you take the pills, some crazy fucking shit would happen.
Right.
Then he announced that the pills were placebos years after the film came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a bad move. I think that your film stood on higher shoulders when you gave it a multiple meaning. But he's kind of a narcissist. And his other films like Southland Tales or The Box are trash. And it's because he's overly pretentious. And I think this film, being his first film, he didn't try too much, but he definitely tries too much later on.
Is The Box the one with
Cameron Diaz.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
And don't get me wrong, boys. This film is pretentious.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to get to. He basically got away with the level of pretension because
it's smart enough.
it equaled out in its smartness. Trust me, he will definitely go over the wall of pretension later in his film career, and that's why it's dead.
But this movie is quite pretentious.
Yeah, but it's also, it kind of gets a lot because it's so smart. And I will say this, if you have a logic loop with it, there's almost always a sound reason behind it. And then there's so many fan theories out there that I still think are really fun, like that one person makes the argument, I mean, it's not true, but one person makes the argument that Gretchen could possibly be Roberta Sparrow because of the name change and the fact that every single time something has to do with Roberta Sparrow, you could actually parallel it with Gretchen's things. For instance, the car swerved out of the way of Roberta and ran over Gretchen specifically.
Huh.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Showing that maybe she was also, yet again, another receiver for a tangent universe, but it's all kind of, it gets kind of watery when you put in those terms.
Yeah, but I mean, but the reason it's a fun movie is that you can think about a lot of things, and like we said before, everything that every character in this movie does is to help Donnie on his path. Well, and like not even consciously, but to help him on his path.
I mean, there's literally a scene where Drew Barrymore's character and the other professor are just sitting in the teacher's lounge, and they just say Donnie Darko, and they go and start laughing like, what a fucking weirdo. But at the same time,
not realizing that everything that they do is helping him get to where he needs to go.
Why specifically write cellar door on the chalkboard right before he goes through the cellar of Roberta Sparrow's house? Why would Graham Greene's The Destructors play a part in the film at all? But it actually plays a multiple.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important part. And if you haven't read The Destructors, you should. It's really
so
good. I actually love The Destructors.
It's super short too. I think it's less than the movie says. I think it's less than 13 pages.
Yeah.
They say 13 pages, but I'm pretty sure it's less than that.
And like Drew Barrymore telling Gretchen to sit next to the boy she thinks is cutest. Obviously, it's Donnie Darko. That's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yay.
I'm gay and I can't
And
even
she-
recognize
she
that
just
Jake
next to-
Gyllenhaal is
she
the
just
cutest
next to
boy in
Ja-
any room.
Just to Jerry Trainer. He's like, what? What?
He's like, me?
It's Crazy Steve.
Crazy Steve.
I've got that name down now. And I love the ending of the film because it really lets you know that unconscious, that the subconsciousness of it is going to stick with them forever, even in the current universe, because they were used as tools of God. They actually have a sense of deja vu about Donnie and a sadness and almost like,
and you can see that in Gretchen and the mothers like sort of look at each other.
as well as all the characters super upset at the end of the film. Frank
Right.
grabbing at his eye, all that stuff. Patrick Swayze waking up in the middle of the night crying.
Exactly.
Fuck Patrick
Yeah.
Swayze in
I mean,
this, though.
fuck his characters.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, and then, with the Evil Dead connection with burning down a house and everything, the film is incredibly smart.
Yeah.
And, yeah, maybe it's a little pretentious at moments, but...
Do we feel like Patrick Swayze actually had like a child porn collection?
No.
Like you don't think that was real in the real universe?
In real life?
No,
Not
in the
real
movie.
life, not Patrick himself.
Yes, no, he did. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. And then you kind of wonder, like, what's...
Because I was just wondering if that was sort of like a fact that was... Well, I guess not. Never mind. I answered my own question.
Yeah, it definitely was
But
a
yeah,
real
it's
thing.
fun to think about the chain of events. Like, if he hadn't burned down Patrick Swayze's house, then his porn collection never would have been discovered. He never would have been on trial. The mom, who was the coach of Sparkle Motion, never would have had to go. And then his mom would
Which,
never
by
have
the
been on
way,
that plane.
do you know why she freaked out over the Destructors? The girl that Drew Barrymore calls dumb is that lady's daughter.
Yes, I knew.
Okay,
Yeah.
I loved that. That was incredible. That girl's like, if you would have read the whopping 13 pages, that
Right.
one line that she led to so much horribleness for Drew Barrymore's character. That just goes to show the chain of events that were set in place to make sure Donnie does the specific thing he needs to do. And then in the film, he also controls wind, earth, water, and fire, all in some aspect. Earth being that he plunged himself into the physical fucking earth. Wind being that he actually telekinetically ripped a jet engine plane off. The fire with setting fire to the pervert's house. Water with actually flooding an entire fucking school and digging an axe into a bronze head.
Right.
Clearly, he had supernatural.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Bridget,
gifts.
did you realize that Donnie had like some sort of like superhuman?
No, I didn't realize that.
Given to him as being a vessel, staying within God's path. Now, there is a differing opinion on what the portals coming out of them mean. Some people think it's destiny. I actually think it's like goals, like hopes. Just because you can pretty much line it out both ways, but there's something kind of. So if the whole film is all about forcing him through this destiny, I feel like the portals he sees aren't necessarily that. That would be insignificant then. What would be the point of showing it? I think it's all about the wants, the goals that people have. Because, I mean, the dad goes to the fridge, grabs a beer. Gretchen wants to be with Donnie. Donnie wants the gun for the reasons that God has given him. Everything also leads back to the same thing of them being a path of what you want.
I always kind of thought of it as being sort of like the plan for you.
Mm-hmm, the destiny concept.
But
That's why it's a different thing.
But you can choose it if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Donnie sees it and he makes the choice behind seeing it to follow it.
That's what makes me think maybe...
Wherein you could see it and then be like, oh, I see this now, but I'm going to go the other way. Where it's like, if you could see it, if you could see the plan for you, if you could see your destiny, you would have the choice. That's the way that I always thought about it anyway.
So there are other questions.
I know. What do you guys think about the channels?
I hadn't thought about it like you had. I just thought it was like choice. Like,
see, it's crazy how people come out with the two different ones, and I feel like the film is so perfectly written in that regard, where it could be either or.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it kind of shows, like, if it's supposed to be destiny, but you can see it, like, do you just have the choice then? Like you were saying. Mm-hmm.
And
like,
was it always that
is
that
it
was
a true destiny?
Was it always that it was your choice always, or is it that it was your destiny and you chose it?
Yeah.
It's literally either or.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to kind of nail down which is.
And also, like, if we could see the path that our lives were going to take, would we still follow it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, this movie kind of says, yeah, you would.
Or is that path being chosen to you in the moment? Is that
right.
just showing what your choice will be? Can we conceptualize the future without it being technically destiny?
Yeah.
Because if you're picking it in the moment and the future just happens to be the future, is that destiny, or is it something that's not pre-decided but happens to be?
Like, for all the pretension on this movie, it makes a really interesting point about, like, how every action that we take has effects which we could not begin to even see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The butterfly effect.
But they do happen.
Mm-hmm.
Another edgy boy movie.
I love it. It is so bad. That movie's bad, but I love it.
I saw it for an hour after we watched The Butterfly Effect for the first time.
Are you okay?
Were you I've actually never seen The Butterfly Effect. That's
I'm never
okay,
Bridget.
What?
I've never seen it either.
We're going to do it for the podcast.
Holy shit, we have to review. You're going to hate it.
Should we get high and watch The Butterfly Effect?
I think it would ruin your experience. I think you need to watch Stone Cold Sober.
Well, noted.
Anyway, I do want to say something too about the therapist, right?
Yeah, I think she's an interesting character.
So the therapist, she's perfectly exempt. Like, you get everything you need out of just one frame on her wall, where she has a huge frame and a tiny little picture in it.
Yeah.
It shows that she's just seeing a small part of this larger picture. And I love that because it's such simple, like, symbolism, but it is so exact on what that character is, where she's just seeing the top layer of what's actually going on and thinking it's just emotional issues. And her ignorance is honestly, like, if she wasn't ignorant to it, maybe it's on a subconscious level that she was, but maybe if she wasn't, she would understand the higher powers that they were discussing with dying alone and things of that nature. So that character is super interesting to me that a lot of people kind of gloss over.
I think probably the character I find most interesting is the Patrick Swayze character.
Oh yeah,
and like just the just like his ideas and like.
It's not as easy as two different emotions.
Yeah.
You told me to force it into my anus.
And I don't know. I mean, this is like, Like, and especially because this is a movie about God, it's like, is he sort of almost like a false prophet in a way?
He's the fucking Antichrist, as
Yeah,
Donnie
he's the
says.
fucking Antichrist. Yeah. You know, yeah, and he's, I don't know. I just find that character really interesting, and I like to hear what other people think about him because I find it hard to articulate my thoughts, but I agree with things other people like. You know what I mean? Like, I have thoughts, but I can't like.
Get it?
I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
form them in a way that makes a lot of sense.
I think he is supposed to be like a false prophet.
Absolutely, yeah. Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Bridget?
I was just agreeing.
Oh, you just
Nodded.
leaned in like you were gonna. Shit.
You just drop all my almond M&Ms
No,
everywhere?
one. I'm finishing them.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I don't know where it went either.
I see it.
Everyone's fine. Everyone's okay. We're all
Also,
good.
like, things. Shout out to Logan and Frani for, like, letting us snack on their snacks every time we come to
Anytime.
record.
I don't give a fuck.
Anytime.
That's fine.
I don't know. I just felt like that needed to be said. I was
Well,
thinking
thank
about
you.
I was like, oh, Bridget's about to drop a Donnie Darko insight on us, and I was like, I can't wait for those.
it. Nah.
She was like, and snacks are good.
And I said, thank you for giving me food. I like food.
That's good stuff. Yeah, food is great. So, the soundtrack of this movie is one of the best soundtracks you will ever hear.
Bridget
It is-
started laughing when Mad World came on, and I was like, it wasn't a
But
meme.
you understand,
then.
it wasn't a
know,
meme when
I
they
know
made
it
the
wasn't
movie.
A meme then.
And it was
I
the
know.
perfect. Tears for Fears was the literal perfect fucking choice, even though that's not the version they played. But that song is the perfect choice.
And that Joy Division song
Oh
is
my
so good.
fucking God.
This is a movie that I really loved when I was 16, and I still really, really like this movie. I'm not trying to get an arm tattoo or anything, but like I like this movie a lot. Sorry, I had to get one in there.
Oh, Logan.
Oh no, don't be
Birthday
sad.
boy.
I was just playing.
Oh.
I was just
Well,
joking.
birthday boy.
I was just joking. I was just playing.
Just
I'm
keep
really,
talking.
I'm really sad now.
Talk now.
No, I also want to get like a cringy film tattoo, so it's fine.
Why? It's not cringy though. It's not cringy.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's a good
Okay.
tattoo, baby.
No, I just like no. Okay, I don't want to. I feel bad now.
Just speak,
No,
Madison.
I feel bad. I don't want you to be mad at
You
me.
had something you wanted to say
Logan, I
about
pretend.
Donnie Darko.
Shut up! I pretend like I don't need your validation, but I do, dude. Like I want you to love me. I don't want you to be mad.
I love you, buddy. Don't worry about
Are you
it.
upset?
No.
Did I crush your dream?
I trust me. I just won't get that tattoo, but I'm
No,
fine.
I want you to get what you want to get, dude. No, I'm so upset right now.
I'll be okie dokie artichoke.
No. I feel so bad.
I think you should
I
get
feel
that.
so bad.
Listen,
I am-
like Madison
I will-
honestly criticizes everyone's tattoos. I went to get my cat, and like she was like, "You're getting him upside down." And I was like, "Yeah."
I was thinking though, we should all get a tiny little crosscut cinema symbol
I feel I'm so upset right now.
one day when we're big and.
I just want an X
Dude,
for crosscut cinema.
I'm so upset. I don't want to
Were
dissuade
you really crying?
No, but I'm like, I feel really bad. I feel really guilty. Sometimes I say mean things. I just feel really bad about them. Sometimes I say things and then I don't realize how they're going to come off until they come off. And
Vote to caucus. That's all I have to say.
what'd you say?
Vote to caucus.
To caucus.
This movie is so
I
fucking
feel so
quotable.
upset.
You are such a fuck ass.
I feel like a fuck ass right now.
Well, you can go
Dude.
suck a fuck.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking
Logan
about?
is totally doubting my commitment to sparkle motion
really
right now.
am now, dude.
I feel so bad.
You know what?
Not to be that bitch, but like, I'm a Virgo and I have a lot of criticisms in my heart. And sometimes I just say them and I don't realize that people are going to like take them that way.
I'm totally fine.
No,
It
you're
can be
not.
hard
I
dating
am
you
though. I am
sometimes.
fine. I won't get
What'd
that
you say,
tattoo, but I'm
Bridget?
fine.
What'd you say?
I said it can be hard dating you sometimes because you have these criticisms.
Oh shit.
I'm just
wait,
kidding.
do you
Oh,
mean
shit.
No, I
that?
don't mean that. I was just fucking around.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's move
I'm
on.
gonna cry.
Oh my god, I didn't mean to give you more anxiety. I was just fucking around. I've broken her.
The
Just keep
podcast has
talking.
disbanded.
Just keep going.
What is happening anymore?
Oh
Oh
no.
lord.
Do we need a pause?
No, it's fine. Just keep going.
Franny thought
Is it?
the Gretchen character was Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I did.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
You're fine. What are you
I
so
feel
worried
really
about?
bad. Amber just said it's hard to date me.
Oh,
No, it's fucking around 200%.
I thought you meant that.
No.
Oh,
I said immediately after that I was fucking around.
oh my word. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh my word.
My humor is bad
I feel
timed
like
sometimes.
no, you're okay. You're funny. You're hilarious.
No, you are. No, I don't believe it.
No, I think you're very funny.
You're so funny.
No, you are. Stop. I feel like I need to make amends. Bridget, I'm sorry that I criticized you. Logan, I'm sorry I made fun of your tattoo.
I don't have one, so it's
You
fine.
don't
You want to. and I
Oh,
want-
not anymore. I don't.
Stop.
There's no way I can have it
Stop.
now.
We need to pause.
Stop. No, it's good content. Leave
Okay.
it go.
Is it?
I don't know. Is it?
Does anybody else have anything to add about the Donnie Darko?
No, I think we do.
What else do you want to say about it?
I'm recovering. Hold on. I feel like I just have a lot to say about this movie in
Me
general.
too, but I don't want to be the only person talking. I feel like I'm talking so much about it.
No. I feel we were talking about the score.
Oh, the soundtrack and the score. I always actually when I do D&D, I always use the Donnie Darko score because it has a huge range of emotions and sets
It
a
does.
cool
It
fucking
really-
atmosphere.
It's really so
Aw.
good.
That was cute.
It's
They just did a
thing.
cute little they pinky promised each other, then kissed the sides of it. Madison and Bridget did. That was very cute.
You gotta give it a little mwah.
Or else it isn't effective.
It was also super gay.
Yeah.
That's how you get
Hey.
coronavirus, guys.
I mean,
Don't be like us.
I hate to break it to you, Logan, but our mouths actually touch sometimes.
Wait,
That's gay.
that is gay.
That's gay.
That's so fucking gay. Oh my god.
So I mean, the germs from our mouths are gonna.
That is according to one comment that was taken down by YouTube. Fucking fags.
Immediately.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But was he wrong?
Like, was he?
I
No.
Or
mean-
she. We don't know.
Were they wrong?
Yeah.
Um. um.
If you guys want to tell us that, can you email it to us so we don't like lose the comment?
Right. We want to
Please?
have it. We
Yeah, if you
want to
like really berate us, please.
YouTube
And
will
like
take
just
it
like
down.
comment, like check your email.
Yeah.
I would
Correct.
love
And
that
There you
shit.
go. That's genius. Comment, check your email. We will check the
If
fuck
we
out of
know
the
that
email.
you had some mean shit to say,
Whenever I get on to my computer now, I check our email.
I always check our email, just waiting for the day
that
that
fat
someone.
fuck with this bad tattoo so loud.
Hey, no.
Bridget didn't
Okay.
even fucking watch
Yeah.
Donnie Darko.
She didn't even
my
see
gosh,
it.
I'm
She didn't
so-
see Vanilla Sky. She didn't see Donnie Darko. Does she even watch the movies on this podcast?
Like she
Like, why
tries.
is she here?
She fell asleep during Scooby Doo a
What
little
does
bit too.
she? What does she contribute? I've seen Scooby Doo like 25
I know.
times. So
Did you finally like get a full picture after falling asleep 25 times through
right.
it?
stop. I didn't
That
fall
was. I
asleep.
can tell your response. That was too real. You're like, that's so true.
No. I definitely didn't fall asleep that one time when I was having my asthma medicine because I get really hyper, and so my parents were probably like, "Fuck, we have to give this to her at night." Jesus Christ.
I feel
Mary.
like I want to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was the end of my
I
bed.
feel like I want to talk more about Roberta Sparrow actually because I'm actually really interested in the theory that she was once a receiver. Like, is that the idea of like why she's
Why?
crazy?
Not even just why she's crazy. Because actually, it's a little bit of an argument whether she's actually crazy.
I like what you said to me the other day about her, like how she survived.
Yeah, there's a concept that they always joke like she's 101 years old, whatever it may be. But actually, the idea is that if everything goes within God's path, and you live when you were supposed to assumingly die, because that's what the receiver always does,
Right.
then essentially you've avoided death.
Yeah.
So she lives on. Her body ages, but there's just an immortality to her.
Yeah, and they call her Grandma Death,
Grandma
which is
Death.
interesting.
And the
And,
idea
like-
of her waiting for the letter, you could assume it's like, her waiting for, and not to be really brutal, but her waiting for her demise, essentially.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, has she always been waiting for that letter, or is that something that she began to do?
And it could be a part of a story we don't know. It
Right.
could be a part
And that's
of
why I
her
find that character
receiver
really
story.
interesting.
Because I would assume that that's where actually the Gretchen theory comes in really well, because if she is actually Gretchen, her supposed demise was being hit by a car.
Right.
So her going back and forth through the street could actually be the message, and her always avoiding that car crash could be
the message.
That she's missed her moment in God's channel.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of goes into that.
Does that mean she'll never die?
Yes. If that's the theory, then yeah, she'll never die. She'll just keep rotting and rotting away.
The other thing is that
the other thing,
really
if she
sad.
does die, as shown that she's a total recluse, she
Right.
knows the truth that everyone
she
dies
no
alone.
longer
So she
can-
makes that certain.
and she can no longer exist in the normal functioning almost.
Exactly.
And yeah, and I want to kind of ask what you guys thought about like the whole "no one dies alone" thing.
Or everyone dies alone.
Or everyone dies alone. I mean, not no
It's
one.
accurate.
Everyone.
I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah.
On a base level, but I also think it has to do with it's kind of in the film as it works. It's him coming to terms with the fact that like the loneliness he feels, the separation he has always, his outcastness. It's just something that he needs to accept, that he's gonna die alone, and maybe that this path that he's chosen is much more righteous and meaningful because he was always gonna die alone regardless. So he dies alone not only physically but with the knowledge of what really happened. And when he dies, when he's about to die, he's laughing. He's in literal joy because at least he's accomplished what he needs to accomplish. And yeah, he's gonna die alone, but he was always gonna die alone. Everyone dies alone.
And then and I just found that very interesting, and like I don't know what this movie has to say about God. I think is like interesting and nuanced.
And the thing is too is it's confused.
Yes.
And that's where the pretension comes in, because I think it has an incredibly strong argument in the sense of atheism, as also an incredibly strong argument in the sense of agnostic, and an incredibly strong argument for religion itself, because the baseline is there is a God. He has control. Or does he? Like, is this happening because he has no control?
What do you think is the argument for atheism?
Well, it's just the sadness of no matter what you do, you're going to die alone. It's the sadness of
but I mean, like, they have God's channel.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: God abandoned Donnie because he was a nobody, because he was a loner. He sacrificial lamb gave him up.
Right, a sacrifice.
A sacrifice.
Oh no!
Full circle, baby.
It's part of the cinematic universe.
Yeah, it's tough.
Also, when they're talking, I just want to say, like, when they're talking about the Smurfs, I feel like that's literally what we sound like on this podcast.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For real.
That is absolutely how we argue about
Bridget,
things.
cop propaganda.
Yeah, the cop propaganda.
Or about the fucking Cheez-Its.
The
Oh,
Cheez-Its.
no.
Oh god.
Oh Lord, looking at that Cheez-It box.
And then we got into an interesting discussion about death after that watch yesterday, about how like there isn't any way to exactly know what happens in death. And
Oh
like,
yeah, that was really intense conversation. Though. That's just in the sense of like, can you even really? Is death even really like a physical concept that we can understand in any facet? Like, we don't. Oh man, that's such a big. That's a conversation for another time. That is such a
So
big
much
conversation.
anxiety.
Yeah.
I have a lot of theories, and as everyone knows, theories could mean bullshit or it could mean
Right.
everything. So essentially, everybody's talking out of their ass.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie kind of, I don't know, I think this movie is really interesting, but not like what I kind of understand the message to be, and like maybe I understand it incorrectly, or my understanding is different from other people's, but like what I understand the movie to be saying is that you don't really have a choice in a sense. I think it says that I think it says that destiny exists and that it's sort of
And I would argue that
predetermined.
it purposefully says both, that you have a choice and you don't, and it makes you feel a contradiction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Because
more
the idea of a sacrifice in general that's chosen is the idea of choice, right? But at the same time,
yeah, I guess
he
that's
was
true.
pushed all the way there.
Right, there was, and like Gretchen dying was his motivation, but that was unavoidable as well.
Or was it because she didn't die? Essentially, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like her dying in the Tangent universe was what pushed him to right the wrong.
Yeah.
And to realize that he could. And like, so I think like the idea, I like what I kind of get from the movie is that you have a path and everybody has a path and the universe has a path. And sometimes that path can be disrupted, but what we ultimately have to do is make it right and get back on track.
And then I have the opposite argument, but I still think that what you're saying could be true.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the film purposefully makes it so you can look at it either way.
But yeah, that's what I get from the movie, and that's the message that I understand it to have in a way. But it's also interesting because it's not one that I really agree with.
Yeah, and also I'd argue that people could have seen it and seen something totally different, and literally the
Yeah, I
opposite
agree.
direction.
I mean, I like because like the way that I personally feel is that everything you do is a choice. You choose to do it. It's not predetermined. You're making the reality as you do it. But then it's interesting to think about it from another perspective. Like, well, maybe that's not true.
But my big argument with this film is people talk about how perfect the time travel is. I'd argue that that's actually one of the weaker parts of the movie.
Mm.
And if if we're gonna review a real time travel movie, people, I don't know when, but we're gonna talk about Primer, a movie that scientifically kind of lays out how time travel would work.
I don't know. I feel like I like this I like this style of time
The
travel.
multiverse tangent theory.
Yeah, I think the other style of time travel gets a little bit messy if you think about it too long.
So one of the big reasons why the multiverse stuff got really popular, as far as like in cinema and stuff, actually, and I looked this up. So when Back to the Future came out, it was all about the repercussion time travel stuff. And one of the things that really made it popular in like the Eastern culture, is in Dragon Ball Z, they made a character incredibly similar to the Marty McFly character called Trunks. And they had him time travel, and he has the same thing with like the jacket and the crazy clothes and everything, very 80s looking. But his thing is, he was under the impression that it would work like a Back to the Future kind of thing. I mean, even right down to his mom hitting on him, everything is all there.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is that it actually shows a different path in time travel, which is the multiverse theory. And that's what really got it popular as far as like novels and comic books and stuff. And people always had that original linear idea of time travel and things being affected in that way. And I think that having an opposite kind of perspective has really made cinema and fiction a lot more interesting.
Like, my issue with the linear time travel is that, like, so if I travel to the past.
Also, Avengers, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, that's shit
You
silly.
guys did both. What the fuck? It's
that
ridiculous.
Shit's silly. But like, if I travel to the past to make some change occur, and then like if I like either A, you could live out the past and like live up to the future moment, but then wouldn't you then have to go back again to ensure that it would happen? Like maybe I'm stupid, but like I just feel like you have to keep going back.
That's what I was saying.
But the thing with Donnie Darko is that the past...
But it's not doing that. But like, I'm just saying that's what I don't like about sort of the linear, because it's like, you still have to go.
It's loop. It's circular.
And like, if you go back and if your thing is like, I'm gonna go back and kill Hitler, and then you're in the future, there's no motivation for the time travel to occur, which then means that nobody killed Hitler. Like it doesn't make any it doesn't make sense. Like, I can't conceptualize it. So if I'm an idiot, please tell me and come
that's the big issue.
Come into the inbox and be like, Madison, you're so fucking stupid. It doesn't work.
That's
that
where
way.
A paradox kind of plays in, where you can't
and, like,
really
the
lay
idea of
out. And that's why I prefer the multiverse theories.
Yes.
I think that it makes more sense because physically, even though time technically exists in the sense that it passes, things are not as linear. It's not like the universe is laid out and like this portion of the existence is the 1970s.
Yeah, it's almost like it's all happening at once, and also
the past doesn't exist, it existed.
Right.
Only the present exists.
Yes.
And that's what makes it harder to conceptualize someone being there and changing it, because it already happened. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's do our...
That stresses me out.
That's
What do
why I
you s-
haven't had so much to say.
Well, that's not how the time travel worked in Donnie Darko, though.
Yeah, I know.
Correct,
But like,
yeah.
it's hard to think about. It's
But
hard
yeah,
to
I
think
mean,
about.
like if I understand what you're saying correctly, like in the multiverse, like the past is something that is presently existing. Also.
Exactly. It's not
Yeah,
about
everything's
linearness.
happening all at once.
It essentially it's like a town, like the physical location exists.
Right, and it's a place you can go,
Exactly.
but it is connected to the other place.
Exactly.
We watched this great Logan. I watched this great movie. You should watch it if you have the patience and the time.
I know
you
exactly what
should
you're
watch
gonna watch.
it. You should watch a little movie called What Time Is It There? It's so good. It is a Taiwanese new wave film. It is impossible to find. But if you, dear listener, own a copy of What Time Is It There, or have some way to get it to me, I will do mostly whatever you want, because that's how much I love this movie.
Whoa.
It's really good. It like fundamentally as a person has like changed me in ways.
It is a really great
and
film.
it also deals with the concept of time not being linear but more circular, and it's really interesting. It's a really slow movie, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, I'd say like it is incredibly intriguing in the minimalist things it does.
Yes, I would. If I thought that any person on the earth cared, I would make an episode just about that movie. But I don't.
We would make an episode.
Well, I would want us to do an episode just about that movie.
I'm hearing a lot of I and not a wheeze.
Okay, we would do an episode just about that movie.
I need a wheeze. Bridget, can you make a wheeze? You're good at those. There you go. Nice wheeze.
She said, but no, I would like we would do an episode just about that movie.
Agreed.
If I thought that like more than one person would listen to it.
And that one person would be us. Like, we're so smart.
Like, wow, we really... No, I can...
Maybe your professor.
I was going to say, I watched it for a film class, so, like, maybe my professor would watch it.
I know, and Madison's in a film class, and Logan just watches the movies for film class with her.
Yup.
And they have like these long discussions. It's great. It's
But-
really
It's so
cute.
cute.
But I will say, I don't want to pat myself too much on the back, but I think it's making your understandings of the film better to talk it out with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to have that conversation after you watch it. But anyway, you should watch What Time Is It There? It's another really good movie about time. Yeah, it's a Taiwanese film. It's really good. It's impossible to find.
It really is fucking impossible to find.
Like a fucking DVD copy is like $60 or something.
It's $40 for a VHS copy.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's $60 for like a Region B copy. So like I'd have to buy a special Blu-ray to play it.
Right, it's insane.
Fucking stupid. Put
It's
out the
whack.
Blu-ray already.
Right, come on, dude.
Anyway. You guys ready to rate this film?
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
You first.
Me first?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Same as Scooby Doo.
I gave Scooby Doo an 8.
Oh, okay.
I give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I'd give it an A.
I mean,
I like this movie a lot.
I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I think the director took the 10 out of 10 away when he took away the better parts of the film by putting out director's cut.
But I mean, if you don't consider that, if you just consider Donnie Darko the film.
Man, with how big this film's crowd is and their community, I can't ignore it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I haven't. 7.5.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I like it a lot.
It mentally affected you after the film. You're giving it 7.5. No, don't change your review. I'm just saying it's a little fake to me. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think Franny's the fucking Antichrist?
I think I might be.
Why are you wearing that stupid man suit?
Why are you wearing that stupid human suit?
When Bridgie when Bridget
I
saw
hate
that part,
that.
she was like, "That's so fucking
You know,
edgy."
I think I do like
I
it more
did.
than I'm letting on right now. I'm gonna settle for a 8.5.
Like I'm just watching this movie. I'm just reminded of like 2014 Tumblr days when like the
Oh,
gift sets
no.
of Donnie Darko. Those were the good times. That was the Tumblr film renaissance.
Yeah.
So our next review. if
Hey,
I'm-
I didn't review it.
Oh shit, you didn't. Well, yeah,
I
you
thought you
did.
did.
Yeah, you did.
No,
You
I
said
didn't.
8 out of 10. That's what you just said.
No, I didn't.
Yes, I
Yes,
swear.
you did.
I swear to God, you said that too.
She just said the 8 out. No.
You did.
You said
You
it.
did.
No, I said earlier that Logan gave Scooby Doo an 8 out of 10.
That's what you were saying. You were not clear. You were
Okay,
not
I'm
clear.
so sorry. Please rate it.
Everyone misunderstood what you said. Okay.
I'm sorry, dear
I'm sorry.
viewers,
Please go ahead.
listeners.
They're viewers too. They look at it, I'm sure.
They look
I
at it.
mean, if I was putting on our podcast, I would not look at it.
We should start doing video podcasts then.
No,
Why? You don't want to be on camera?
no. If I'm on camera, I feel too much like I have to like perform and like look a certain way.
Okay.
Like,
Whereas
yeah,
doing
big
doing it
same.
audio wise,
You know,
I can just
eventually
say
we're gonna
whatever I
have,
want.
if our
I
YouTube
might-
keeps picking up, we're eventually gonna have to do it. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Why would you
I-
have to do it?
Because it will be mainly on YouTube. If it picks
I-
up, why wouldn't we?
I mean,
This is an off-
because
this is
it's
an off
still a
podcast
fucking
discussion.
podcast.
Yeah, there's every YouTube podcast is a video podcast. You got Joe Rogan, you got H3, you got all the different film ones, Collider, John
higher-
Campia, all of it.
And
Fuck,
that's
what's
why
the
we
name?
drank. That's my favorite one.
A lot of
Shout out to him,
podcasts or
that's why
video
we drank.
podcasts for the YouTube selection.
Can I
Whatever.
But this is something we have to talk about right now.
Can you
rate the
what?
fucking film, please?
Wow!
I'm
First
just
she
fucking
says I'm hard to
around.
be with, then she's can we break the fucking film?
I'm just fucking around, guys. I'm, not
I'm
being
waiting.
serious.
Can you rate the fucking film?
Yeah, can you?
8.5 out of 10.
There we go.
So original.
I know.
Don't be mean.
Miss changes her score, Franny. Let me tell you. Yeah, you're really good to criticize it.
You're right. I'm bullshit.
I really want to rewatch it. I think
It is
Yeah.
great for a rewatch.
It is.
You
It is
definitely
right
need to
for
knowing
a
all of
rewatch.
this.
Because you see all the things that like knowing the explanation.
The Killing Moon has come too soon.
It has indeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good song.
It is. Echo and the Bunnymen's my fucking favorite.
The Bunnymen.
Yeah, Echo and the. I know that was intentional. It was, good.
Yeah, I know.
It was good stuff. It also captured the '80s really fucking well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And it was made in 2000, so you know you can't really.
Oh, it's supposed to be
2001.
the 80s.
It says 1988 on screen so many times.
You're right.
it does.
I
There's a
just
dude with a
didn't
fucking
even
mullet in the
think
film,
about
Franny.
it.
There's a mullet
yeah,
in the
but
film.
like
Who has the mullet?
you see mullets nowadays too.
Who has the mullet? The dude
I
with the
guess
knife
maybe
in the
just-
bathroom.
Oh yeah.
I guess maybe you see mullets out here more than you do in the rest of America.
All right, we.
But yeah, you still
I feel
see
like
them in
mullets
the
are making a
good old
comeback ever since
Midwest.
Stranger
All right.
Things. I see a lot
All
of
right,
mullets.
guys. So
Yeah.
the next video we're gonna review is gonna be the faculty. We might not be full in control of our faculties, but we'll see. And also, just a quick moment. Our Patreon is up. There's certain tiers
Yeah.
available. We really appreciate if you guys would donate. I mean, I understand that it's a little bit of a rough time with the coronavirus.
But listen, it's a rough time for us too because
Yes.
our jobs are
Shut
Come
so
on.
are
down.
dwindling.
And
They're
like,
kaput.
and our pricing is fantastic.
I
Do you
think-
want a fan fiction written by published author Brie about warrior cats,
You
but
can have
personalized
that.
to you? You can
You
have
can
that.
have it. You can have it.
Do you want
She'll make you a cat
Patreon.
Sona.
exclusive content?
Like our
You can have
soon
it.
coming occult podcast.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
boy.
Hey.
You want early access to our bonus content? You can have that too. Even though I just said that I don't want to be on camera, we'll make you a video saying thanks.
And Madison will eventually be on camera if we get famous enough. Sorry to tell you.
Hell yeah.
Here we go.
I've got a face for podcasts.
Oh no.
The term is a face
no.
for radio.
I know, but
and-
I've updated it for the modern age.
But I just want to say that you have a face for anything.
Aww.
Even if you hate any tattoo I get.
Hey.
Anyway, thank you guys so much.
Thank you for listening.
And
Thank
happy
you.
birthday to Logan.
Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday,
Logan.
Logan.
Happy birthday to me.
Leave your time travel dissertations in our inbox
And
on
like
the comments.
and subscribe. We love you.
and